Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon in Thailand. Good morning in England. Okay. Okay. Have we got sound on there? Have we got... Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me in the distance? All right, let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Looks like we've got... Oh, there we go. I can hear myself now. I can hear myself on... I've set me a little monitor up so I can actually hear now, because I was asking people whether anybody could hear me. And Christopher Watkins, loud and clear. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll turn down the volume here now. As I said, it's a new setup that I've got here, and so I'm just trying out. I've got a new way of doing things. The webcam that I got wasn't very good, but the webcam that I bought was better than the webcam that was on the laptop, and now I'm using the iPhone with a couple of bits and pieces added onto it. On the bottom here, you can see the camo, which is the other side, that side anyway. So that's like an attachment to go on the computer with regard to being able to use your iPhone as a web camera. And I think that the picture looks much better than it did before with the webcam. So I'm just getting in there. I'm getting there slowly but surely. And as I say, it looks a little bit overcast now over here. There's still blue skies, but this is rainy season. And I've got my coffee, Retired and Living Dream, and I got my t-shirt, Retired and Living the Dream, on also. So here we go. There's 12 people in the house already. 2 thumbs up. Thank you very much for those people who've given the thumbs up, and the 12 people who've joined early at 3 o'clock. Okay. Now, as I said, that I've already done a live stream once this morning. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I set my first live stream up at 7 o'clock this morning. That was for the American audience. So in reality, the like questionnaire that I put out before, or the preview, was to ask what questions people want to know. And basically, the Americans want to know what you want to know in England also. So it's a case of sort of going through the same questions. And if anybody wants to ask a question, put a Q in the comments when you do the writing, and I can see it's a question as opposed to some people are having a chat in between each other. So if you want to know some questions, then I'll gladly answer them as best as I can. But there's quite a few things that have been altered this week with visas and things like that. It sounds positive. It sounds good news, and we shall go through the things that have been mentioned this week. Hi, Les. Graham Shed here. Sent emails reference how to get NHS treatment if needed. Thank you. To get NHS treatment, you'd have to go back to the UK. Now, the UK has a policy of emergency treatment comes first. So if anything's wrong with you, then they will treat you no matter what, whether you live in England or whether you don't. And then the difficulty that I've heard of people, now there's multiple stories with regard to this, because I've looked into it, and to be honest, I've never got a straight answer from anybody. And not wanting to poke the hornet's nest, if you like, and ask the NHS, as I say, listen, this is what it is. I live in Thailand or wherever. If anything serious happens to me, will I get the treatment when I come back? But there are people who've been telling me different stories, so we'll see. I'll mention a couple of the stories that have been mentioned to me. But like I said, the treatment at first, like when I went back to England, I had a suspected heart attack, and the treatment that I received back in the UK was second to none. Once I got through the initial 4 hours waiting for the ambulance, 5 hours to see a doctor, so 9 hours altogether before I actually got seen. And then once I got seen, the treatment was second to none. And I had a CT scan and things like that. And they found that I had emphysema, Heart was okay, lungs were okay, because they thought it might have been a heart attack or a embolism or a blood clot in my lungs. But they said you've got emphysema. And also I've got a small cyst on my liver, which could be something. It might not be nothing, but they seem to be thinking if 90% it was going to be nothing, because it's very, very common apparently. But in answer to your question, somebody says to me that once you're over retirement age, no matter where you live in the world, if you go back to the NHS, they will treat you and do all what is required to fix you up. Now, whether that's right or wrong or not, I don't know. And who wants to be brave enough really and ask the question? Because I suppose sometimes we all live in hope that, you know, the treatment is going to be out there. But I've got to say, in my own heart of hearts, mind of minds, if anything, I got diagnosed here, with anything terminal, that's my last resting spot, just there on the sofa, overlooking that view over there. And there's my hammock. I've been on there this afternoon as well. So why would I want to go back to the UK and try to extend my life for another 6 months or a year in a country that I don't like in the first place? I am of a positive mind that I'm 63 years old already. Things are going to start going to go wrong, and I'm going to get something that's going to kill me one day, and I'm sure of that. So just give me the painkillers, make sure I'm not in pain, and I'll see out my days on that sofa or that hammock. That's as blunt as an answer I can give, really. I don't want to go back to the UK. And although I've mentioned a couple of times on various blogs and that if anything serious was there, I'd go back to the UK. But I've since sat and talked about it and talked with my wife over it. And I said, if it's anything serious, I'm going to stay here. I'll see out my days here in Thailand. I've got basic medical insurance, but if it's anything serious, it's not going to cover that anyway. So I'm a strong believer, when your number's up, your number's up. So I'm lucky to still be here at 63-year-old, and I've got various friends here that are 80, 85 and still going very strong. So long may it last. Okay, so a bit of a long-winded answer, I know, but I hope it is what you want to hear. I'm moving to Thailand and retiring here. Married to a Thai. Well done. Moving here, married to a Thai, it all helps, doesn't it? So are you going for the marriage visa, or are you just going to go for the retirement visa? Because the marriage visa is a pain in the backside every year, a pain in the backside. Not impossible, but there's a lot of paperwork involved. But when you get it, it's 11 months of easy street. Every 90 days you do your reporting, which you can do online. And I've got a couple of questions with regard to that reporting and things like that. It's not difficult. People seem to think the paperwork over here is difficult, but it isn't. It's probably one of the easiest places in the world. You ask people in America who have to, or England or Australia, who have to go through the immigration process, and I'm sure you'll get equally as bad as answers. It should be like this, should be like that, should be like the other. Nobody likes immigration. Nobody likes paperwork. Nobody likes bureaucracy. But you've got to get your head around it. You live in Thailand, and it is what it is. It's how some people pick and choose. I don't like this, but I like that paperwork. It's like if you get stopped for having no license or insurance on your motorbike or car, you give them a white slip of paper, you get fined 500 baht, and you're on your way for 7 days, and the police can't find you again because you're paying the fine. Everybody likes that piece of paperwork because the car's not going to get taken off you. It's not going to get impounded. You don't have to jump through the various hoops or pay the exorbitant fees for storage and things like that. So people are happy with that. So it swings and roundabouts. Take the good with the bad, because the medium term, everything in my mind is okay. So, Billy Bob, morning, Les. We want to know what the Americans know, but in English. I wonder if I'll get the feedback on the American one this morning. For those people who have been following me, I've helped a couple of Americans make the transition from America over to Thailand, and there's one in particular where we've spent a lot of time with her, her expat. she's a lady of 67-year-old. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have told her age, but anyway, she's a lady moving over here. She's from San Francisco, and she's making the move over to here to Thailand. Now, we've spent a lot of time with her, showing her different lawyers and agents and condos and things like that. So it's a big move. It's a big move, and it's probably one of the people that we've helped the most doing this, because we've sort of held a hand and took her from A to B, and she's back in America now, packing everything up, selling everything, and coming over here. And she certainly opened my eyes with regard to what was going on in America. And you see it in America, and you see it in the UK, and whichever way America goes, the UK is also going down that route as well. And it's not a very, very nice road that England, Australia, Europe, and America are going down. But anyway, that's politics type of thing, you know. But yes, for all those people who want the good times to come back, remember the good times when you were young? And I'm sure people of my age, like 60-odd-year-olds, can remember the good times. You know, could remember that you're buying your first house and everything was exciting, and okay, it was a struggle to buy it, but trying to buy a house now, we need two people who are working to be able to buy a house. Two people have to go to work to make ends meet. Where's the good times? Where's the good old days? The government want you to work until you drop, and then that's perfect for the government. Work until you're 68, drop down dead, so they don't have to give you any benefits or any payments. That's how they want you to live. 68-year-old to retire? Stupid. But anyway, I've got my coffee and I got my water. I've already got a bit of a hoarse throat because of 2 hours this morning. But anyway, yes, I'll try to explain in my best English what the Americans want and what we want. Hi Les, do you know of any agents in Krabi that could help me with a few things? I don't know, sorry. Krabi and Phuket and things like that. But what I would suggest is go on to the Krabi Expats group or something like that on Facebook. There's plenty of groups that you can join throughout the whole of Thailand. Just look for expats in your location that you want to go, and people will steer towards agents and things like that. And then what you're looking for is 2 or 3 people to recommend the same person. And if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. In Pattaya, I send people to a couple of agents that I know, and they help to wave their magic wand to sort all the visa problems out. And boy, are they good at doing what they need to do. I've been here for 12 years now. For 12 years, I've heard every year, oh, the agents are going, the agents won't be working here anymore. The agents are finished. There's more agents now than there was 10 years ago, and they're still doing a cracking job, and they can wave their magic wand and everything gets sorted out. So coming on to the good news about the visas, I don't know whether people have said it or not, but we've got a new Prime Minister now, and he's making the right noises to visa exemptions, like from America, Australia and England, visa exempt, where you come in, you get a 30-day stamp, and then you don't need a visa, as opposed to some of the other people like the Chinese or the Indians get a visa on arrival. We're exempt from the visa, so we get 30 days, and then you can extend them 30 days, so you get 60 days in total in Thailand. The Prime Minister is making noises already, and he's only been in a week or so, to extend that to 90 days. So, wow, wouldn't that be good? Getting 90 days and then being able to extend it for 90 days. That just saves so much paperwork and bureaucracy and trouble. If he does that, he'll be absolutely well loved by all of the expats, that's for sure. There was such a massive outcry of enjoyment and happy people when they raised it to 45. So from 30 days to 45, then you could extend it for 45 days, which was brilliant. Everybody thought that was going to be extended, but no, it got stopped. So now the Prime Minister is hopefully making the right noises, and according to the word on the street is that this will be all sorted out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. He wants to get things sorted out for the high season to get people back here in Thailand, expats, tourists and things like that. So fingers crossed, hopefully that'll work. I've had a couple of people complain about why do we have to do the 90 days? It's Big Brother keeping an eye on you. Like I said before, you know, it's not difficult to do. You can do it online, which takes 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And it might take 2 days for it to come through, but it's no big issue. Even going to the, you know, immigration department every 90 days, make it a day out, go do some shopping, go out for lunch or something like that. It's not difficult to do. And I'm sure there's other countries around the world that make it much, much more difficult than it is here. Get me water already. So take the rough with the smooth. And I've got to say, there's more smooth here in Thailand than there is rough. But that's my opinion. I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I've lived here almost 12 years and I love this country. And so somebody said to me, Les, why do you want all of these foreigners to come and live in Thailand? I don't want everybody to come and live in Thailand. I want those people who want to come and live in Thailand, live in Thailand. I want for those people who were cheesed off with their current situation, the fact that you can't make ends meet, to actually see the good side of life again and live within your means and have a nice place to live, friendly place, happy place, so you don't feel unsafe. And by the looks of it, our home countries, us Westerners, them countries aren't like that anymore. In fact, they're getting worse. How many people on here would agree with that? How many people here would say that their countries are actually getting better and not worse? Water dripping. Okay, let's have a look. On Koh Samui, now you can have to fill out forms and photocopies of pages of passports if you didn't get your visa at the office. 90 days is just a hassle. Is it or isn't it? You fill out one form. I've never found it a hassle. You know, it's no. I got told off by my wife here. And this is what I can say to everybody who whinges and moans on about paperwork here. I used to say, my wife, I used to say to her, oh, in England we do this. In England we do it. And she said, listen, Les, you don't live in England, you live in Thailand. So she said, stop saying in England we did this in England. And I think, yeah, you're right. I live in Thailand. I take the good and I take the bad, and it's a fair mixture. And I don't complain anymore about the paperwork. Is it frustrating? Yes, it is, or it can be, especially the marriage visa application form. We've done it for 5 years. This is the fifth year that we've done it, and this is the first year that we've actually done it in one go. The worst was 6 times. 6 times we had to visit the immigration office, but this year we got it down to 1. And my wife still got told off because the landlady signed the form in black ink. It should have been blue. So my wife got told off to tell the landlady next year to sign it in blue ink and not black. I can live with that. Okay. It's cool. Brings you what you want. John the accountant. Hello there, John. Nice to see you again every week. What does EPC mean? I have no idea. 5 pages of passport and 2 forms, 5-minute wait is now 1 hour. All right, let's question. If we could get 90 days on arrival, then extend for another 90 days, wouldn't this get rid of the need for a marriage or retirement visa? No, because that only gives you 180 days, isn't it? Then you might have to leave the country. The marriage visas, I can qualify now for the 65,000 baht a month income method on the retirement visa, and many people have asked me why I don't change from the marriage visa to that visa. I think, and this is forward thinking, and I might be totally wrong, but I like to think of all the options. That on a marriage visa, I think, because you're married to a Thai, you've got a few more rights than you have with regard to living here. So if they do change the rules, and one of the big things that people were talking about, some scaremongers on YouTube, But why were they scaremongering? Because they wanted you to spend your money. There's been talk of the 800,000 baht going up to 1.2 million as far as money in the bank, and also the income method going from 65 to 100. So now if we look at the marriage fee, so if that went up to like say 800, so that doubled, and the income method for being married goes up to 65,000, then I'm okay. But then there's talk about grandfathering those people that are already on that system. So I can move up that little bit of a level from 45 or from 40 to 65,000 on the marriage visa. So that's what I'm keeping my feet in both locations, if you like. But even if they do up the 800 to 1.2 million up to 100,000, do you think the agents can't get over that? Of course they can. It just might cost you a little bit more money to make 1.2 million and as opposed to 100,000. But is it due for a renewal? By goodness, it is. Do you know it's been 800,000 baht for 20 years? Over 20 years, it's been 800,000. So we can't really complain if they decide to up it. Nobody wants it, of course, but nobody wants it to be upped to 1.2 million. So everything's up in the air at the minute. A little bit of bad news with retirement visas that my friend at the visa agent says now to get a retirement visa, they want also to see a 12-month contract, rental contract. But it's like everything else. If you go through an agent can sort that out also. But if you're trying to do it yourself and trying to get for instance, if you just come over and you're retired, majority of us want to travel all over Thailand and find the feet and find the place where they want to live. They don't want to be hauled down into one place, one area all the time. So by moving around, that doesn't satisfy the immigration department. So again, if you look at it, that's a little bit more work for agents to do, isn't it? Because if a person can't do it themselves, I'm a big believer. If you can do it yourself through the legal, it's all legal, even using an agent over it's legal. But if you want to do it yourself, there's a few more hoops to jump through. And so therefore, the need for agents becomes more. If you need to have this 12 months, see what I mean about the agents, get rid of the agents, never going to happen. Blah, 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 blah. When in Rome, exactly. I've used that expression a few times. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. So I don't break the rules, I bend the rules, and I facilitate people on how to get not round the rules, but because I've lived here now for this long, there's ways and means of bending the rules that don't break the rules, but it's satisfactory. Nothing that I mention to people is illegal, because I would never do that, because at the end of the day, I love this country. I don't want to be thrown out of this country, so I would never tell anybody to do anything illegal. But the rules are bent by everybody over here. Anybody in the police bend the rules, the immigration bend the rule, the politicians. Who doesn't bend the rules over here? So, as in Rome, do as the Romans do. Paul Morningley's question: for someone retiring to Thailand, would you recommend them buying property and land or renting? Okie dokie. Now, as I said, this lady that we were helping to relocate over here, she had a mind set on a condo, and she flew all the way from America to come and see this condo, and her heart was set on it. And I understand her reasons for doing it, because she hasn't got a lot of money to live on, and she's found by research, she's looked into this for a couple of years. She looked at the Philippines and also Thailand, but she chose Thailand. And I understand 100% why she wanted to buy the condo, because then it's rent free. You don't have to worry about your rent. She hasn't got a lot of money to live on over here, and buying the condo seemed to be her best way. But I suggested that you should rent for a year, and many other people also told her to rent for a year. So anyway, the first condo that she wanted didn't work out. Once I showed her the area, it was a little bit run down in my mind and my eyes, and she sort of agreed with that. So then she went to buy another condo, and she used a lawyer, and a lawyer found a little bit of a discrepancy. So she pulled out of that one, and then she decided that she was going to rent. So she's renting somewhere now in Jomtien, and she's going to find her feet. And I was happy when she told me she was going to rent somewhere, because now she can buy at leisure and not in haste. And I would say live here for a year and travel around Thailand, find the place that you want to live. I travelled all over Thailand before I settled in Rayong. I came to Rayong for 2 weeks, and I've been here for 11 years. It's not the best place in the world. It is, for me, I like it because it's not on the tourist radar. So therefore, because it's not on the tourist radar, it is fairly cheap to live here. But as far as you can own a condo in your name, but there's also caveats with that. That there has to be, for instance, if there's 100 units, 51 of them units have to belong to Thai people and 49 the other. And if the balance is the other way, then you can't own a condo in a unit in that 100 units. And buying a property and land, you can own the property, but you can never own the land that it sits on. Now, there's other ways that you can secure yourself, so you're never going to lose that, but then you need to see a lawyer. So yes, it is possible. I mean, I'm buying this house, and I know I'll never, ever, ever own this, but I'm buying it for my reasons, and my wife will end up with it at the end of the day, but I'm happy with that. I would suggest nobody to buy a house for their Thai partner if they don't trust them 100% or they're not married to the Thai partner. So buyer beware. You can take precautions so you don't lose anything anyway. So, I mean, we're not paying actually much more to buy this house than we were for renting it. But the house that I live here, we were paying 12,000 baht a month to rent. And we're not paying much more, and we're going to buy it. And one day, it will be my wife's house, and I'll be the lodger with all the paperwork inside. So she could never, ever throw me out of this house, ever. But there's ways and means that you'll not lose your property or lose the ability to live on the land. But you need to see a lawyer about that. Yeah, 30 years plus 30 years plus 30 years. Yeah, I've lived here. I only went to Penang, get a new visa every 6 months. So it must have been 90 days. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. You can lease the land for 30 years plus 30 years plus 30 years. It's a renewable 30-year lease contract, so that you can have the pleasure of living on the land. But anyway, there's more hoops to jump through with that. Some people say you can own it through a company, but again, that's circumnavigating the ownership rights of the land, and technically it's a grey area. But there's other ways you can do it with leasing the land. So I think you don't have to set up a company and pay 15,000 baht a year for your accounts to be done and things like that. That's just another money-making scheme that the lawyers will recommend to you. But there are other ways, cheaper ways of securing that you will never ever lose the house or the land, and it will always belong. Well, it'll never belong to you, but you will always have the right to live on that land. If money makes you a better person, saying things like that makes you a bad person. If more money, no, I would disagree with that. More money doesn't make you a better person. In fact, I found the more down to earth and working class people are the salt of the earth. They're the nicest people that you could ever wish to meet. I've met millionaires. I've never met a billionaire yet, but I've met millionaires, and I've met normal working people, and I've met the world's poorest people, and the millionaires are not nice people. So it doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't make you a better person. Morals, scruples, and principles is which what I live by. That makes me a nice person. I'm a nice person to everybody. I haven't got a bad word for anybody, even my ex-wives. The only bad word I've got is lawyers. I hate lawyers. I hate lawyers with a vengeance. They are the bad people. They've got a legal certificate to rob you. I'll do a video why why I hate lawyers so much, because they are the scum of the earth. They are scummier than the scummiest people in the world, lawyers and politicians. So yeah, there's quite a few bad people, and they're all wealthy. Look at all the wealthy people that run the countries in America, Australia, and has anybody got a good word for them? Elite wealthy people who grind the working class people into the ground? No. When's the last decent, nice thing an elite person has done for the ordinary working person? They haven't. They've screwed them into the ground. Asking to put 1.2 million in the Thai bank, they would also need to increase the financial protection of accounts, which I believe is currently $1 million. Exactly, it is $1 million. Yeah, as I say, that's just another problem that they would have to try and resolve. But I agree with you. You know, in England, I think it's £85,000 you're covered for if the bank goes belly up. In Thailand, if you've got 800,000 baht in the bank, as you have at the minute for your retirement visa, you're very, very close to the million. And the likelihood that if you've got 800,000 baht in the bank, you might have a few more baht in the bank also. So you might even top the 1 million baht range. But I'm sure that'll be looked at if you have to put 1.2 million in the bank. The protection of that will come into that as well. But it's all up in the air at the minute. Let's hope that the new Prime Minister, he wants tourism to increase. He's going to change the visas for the Indians and the Chinese. At the minute, they just get a 15-day on-arrival visa. He's on about upping that to 30 days. And then the other visa, you know, where we get it, the Americans, Australians and English, exemption, upping that from 30 days to 90 days, that would be superb. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, watch this space, and it should happen within 3 or 4 weeks. Blah, 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 blah. Wondering how that will work for those who are married. All right, let's have a look. 12-month contract required. Wondering. Oh, the 12, but that's a marriage visa, not a retirement visa. If you're answering the question, I think, because retired people, to get the retirement visa, they want a 12-month lease agreement. Exactly what I was saying, Les. Yeah, and accountability looks up there. Morning, Les. Listening to you from the Isle of Man. Hello, the Isle of Man. You're not quite tempted me to move over there yet, but I definitely fancy a visit. Interesting listening to you as usual. Thanks very much. Well, Thailand isn't for everybody. Thailand is not for everybody. I agree. But it suits me. I've been here for 12 years, almost 12 years. And I wouldn't wish to live anywhere else in the world. And I've been around the world. I went around the world for a year, then I went around Europe for another year. So I've traveled extensively all over the place. So the places where I would like to live. And I've got to say, Vietnam came a very, very close second to where I wanted to live. But the trouble was with Vietnam, and still at the minute, you cannot get a retirement visa. Pardon me. And when COVID happened, they just threw all the foreigners out of Vietnam. So they were just like thrown underneath the bus from Vietnam. But Vietnam's stunningly beautiful. I love Vietnam. Been there several times. Beautiful place. Right, okay, let's have a look. Question, sorry to go back to the 90-day visa. Okay, no problem. Couldn't you get a 90 days, then extend for 90 days, then spend a week in Vietnam or Cambodia, then come back and start again? Right, let me have a look. So if you get a 90 days, yes, you could do that. Yeah, within them 90 days, you could leave the country, come back, and then your 90 days starts again. At the minute, how the visa works is that if you get your 30 days, then you can extend for 30 days. Then you can do a border run, which you only get 15 days unless you fly out. And if you fly out and fly back, you can get another 30 days. And then extend that for 30 days. But you can only do 2 border runs in 1 calendar year. And you can't do any more than that. Some people say you might get away with 3, but you might get a little red stamp in your passport saying, well, hang on, you've done three trips. Because what it says is that you're trying to circumvent the system and you're trying to live here longer than what you should be. So if you want to live here for that long, you should get a retirement visa. They're also changing the elite visa as well, but I'm not going to talk too much about the elite visa because it's way, 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 way too expensive for me. And when I've read and I watched a couple of programs about it, why would you want to spend $1 million on a visa that you can get? Because if you've got the money to spend for an elite visa, you've got the money to put in a bank, and agents can do all the work that the elite visa does, and you get your 800,000 baht back anytime you want to leave. I think elite visas, 31,000 elite visas they're sold altogether. So there's still 31,000 people of that's good money going to the government, to the Thai government. Anyway, that's just another subject. Thai visas, elite visas, too expensive. There won't be any 90-day extension on the 90 days exemption. Why won't there be a 90-day extension on the 90 days exemption? If they're doing it for 30 days now, and they do an extension for 30 days, logic seems to be that they may do 90 days on 90 days, but who knows? But hopefully we'll find out within the next 2 or 3 weeks. But I can see your reasoning for that, but let's see what happens. Fingers crossed it goes that way. Bill Simpson, hi Les, how are you? I'm fandabidozy, absolutely brilliant. Look at this weather. This is rainy season. Look at that blue sky. Vitamin D by the bucket loads over here. I say I've been sat down there this morning. I was laid there on the hammock there this afternoon in between. I had a live stream this morning talking to the Americans. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I did the live stream with the Americans for 2 hours. And then I had a chat with somebody for an hour at 12 o'clock until 1. And then I've come here at 3 o'clock, and we've been going like just over half an hour now. So yeah, it's been a busy day today, but I've enjoyed it. I think my voice is going to go before the last time I did it to the live stream. It was 3 hours, 45 minutes, and I could hardly talk the following day. Let's have a look. Blah, 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 blah. John the accountant, if you need to ask, you must be... Oh, okay. Maybe reduce the dose macro. Hi Les, thanks for the sharing all the info. What type of internet connection are you using today? Is it reliable internet connection? Generally possible? Yeah, the internet over in Thailand is very, very good. I've got the basic package, and this, I don't know what the up and the down speed, I'm not technically minded like that, but I've got the internet here, and it cost me 418 baht a month for the internet. And I watch my movies, I download my YouTube stuff, so it works. It might not be the fastest internet speed, but you can get really, really fast over here if you want it. But 418 baht a month, I'm more than happy with. I was paying much more than that when I was in England 14, 15 years ago. 418 baht, what's that? About a tenner a month, something like that. £10 a month. I think that's very reasonable. And as I say, I have my Netflix account, so I can watch the movies, high definition movies. So yeah, and that's the cheapest internet available, 418 baht a month. Fast, reliable, and well worth it. I would like to live away from the built-up areas and tourist areas as you do. That's why I like it here. Billy, I have a question. How much interest Do the Thai banks give you on a deposit of 800,000, 1.2 million your retirement visa requirement? No idea. I don't do that. I do it on I have a monthly, I just have to show income coming into my bank of 40,000 baht a month. I don't have the 800,000 to put in the bank. I did have, but I don't have it anymore. And would I put it in the bank? No, because the volatility of the baht and the pound, it goes up all the time, up and down all the time. And but I do suggest to the people, older people, say 65 and above, there's two ways you can use your 800,000 baht, and I think it makes sense. At the minute, my medical insurance is for 700,000 baht, and I pay just under 25,000 baht a year for 700,000 bahts worth of medical cover. I know there's people going to come on here and say that's not enough, you need 4 or 5, 6 million. It is what it is. It's a sticking plaster, and it's enough to get me treatment if I have an accident or something goes wrong in the initial stages. It's enough money. It's a sticking plaster. Is it going to fix everything? No, but it will fix most things. So what I say, if you're 65 and above, insurance gets a little bit more expensive. So if you have your 800,000 baht in the bank and you get your retirement visa, that's the easiest and simplest way of getting your retirement visa, by having your 800,000 baht in the bank. You can also self-insure with that. Is that if you have an accident or injury or fall over and break your leg or something, you've got instant access to money, and you're allowed to go down to 400,000 baht in the bank anyway. So, and even if you went below the 400,000 baht, you can use an agent to say you've got 800,000 baht. So it's there. The 800,000, it does two jobs for you. You don't have to have medical insurance because you can self-insure. For the 800,000, it's the same as me. I have 700,000 baht for medical insurance, and it gets you your visa, no problems whatsoever. So, and if you've got pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies don't want to know you. Or there's so many, we can't cover you for this, we can't cover you that, we can't cover you for the other. But if you have 800,000 baht in the bank, one, you can get your visa, and two, you can self-insure. That's the easiest way. That's the only way that I would suggest people to put 800,000 baht into the bank, is when you get too old to get medical insurance, you can self-insure yourself. I would say out of the, I maybe friends with about 20 people here, and I'm the only person with insurance. Out of 20 people, ranging from 55 is the youngest person I know, up to 86 is the oldest person I know. And there's only me who's got medical insurance. And there's a lot more people, more wealthy than me, also don't have medical insurance. So that's just a little straw poll. Yeah, so no interest on your bank. I dare say you might get a little bit of interest if you put it into a savings account, but then that's another hurdle that you've got to cross. Money doesn't make you a good person, especially if you're an accountant. No, accountants are very clever people. They save you a lot of money. In fact, when I had my businesses, the accountants were well worth their money. Isla, so with a marriage visa, you need to show a monthly income of 40,000 baht a month. Yes, you do. That's all. You either have to have 400,000 baht in the bank, which again is another way, because then you don't have to show your income method. And they want to see that it's from a pension source as well, which mine is, because it comes from the fire brigade. So yeah, all I have to show is 40,000 baht a month. Easy. Well, easy. So we spend more than that anyway. Les, you did a vlog on laying insulation directly on your ceiling to see if it would reduce the heat. Did it work? I need to try this to reduce the heat in our house. It is blooming hot. Yeah. Did it reduce the heat very much? Not a lot, no. It was just knocked it down by 1 degree. Now, I'm doing other things in the house as well. I've got little fans, and what I'm going to do is put them in the ceiling I'm going to try it first before I actually put 2 or 3 in. But the idea is to suck that warm air up from the ceiling level into the loft. I'm going to put up there. We haven't got any roof ventilation at the minute, you know, with them like louver shutters and that. So we're going to put 2 to cross ventilate. I don't think you'll ever win the battle of getting a house super cool, because if the minute you open the windows, the whole house becomes the same temperature as it is outside. Now, people say that you keep all your windows and your doors shut, and you keep the house cool by keeping it cool, and so that's the way to do it. Swings and roundabouts, really, at the end of the day. But I think if you can stop that heat coming in, right, there's only that side of the house that the sun warms up the bricks. The rest of the house is in shadow, so at least it doesn't warm all the bricks up. But extend the roof and have covers so that the sun doesn't shine onto the side of the house. That's the best way of shading the house to stop the heat build-up in the property in the first place. So we've got 66 people in the house and 18 thumbs up. So can I get any more thumbs up? That'd be nice, because then it shows YouTube that everybody likes it. So I'm asking for people to give me a like if you like it. Give me a dislike if you don't like it. Doesn't matter. The algorithm for YouTube is actually, it works. And so, yeah, it works. Hey up, Les. How's it going? I'm down the allotment again, getting some French beans for Sunday roast. Still got the veg growing. Yeah, the allotment. Yeah, my dad had an allotment, and I loved it because we had our own vegetables and potatoes and beetroot. Oh, the beetroot was beautiful. But the allotments are good. A man shed, so you can go there, escape, and there's a lot to say about a man cave or a man shed. I love the man sheds. Very good. John the accountant is doing his wizardry with his percentages. No agent. First year you must put in 800,000 in the bank. Second year you can prove monthly income and withdraw from 800k. Not technically true, really. If it's your first application for a retirement visa, all you need to do is show the first 2 months putting 65,000 baht in, and you can get a retirement visa by using the income method on the first 2 months of your arrival here. So you can actually get a retirement visa showing the income method at 65,000. So you only have to do that for 2 months, and then you can get your visa doing it that way. Hi, Les. Is it difficult to get a marriage visa? No, it's not difficult to get. It's just a humongous amount of paperwork. It's just like, for instance, you got to have photographs of me and the wife, 4 different photographs about the house. You've got to have the address in there, and they have to be different photographs every year also. Then you have to have a photograph of a witness with you also at the house. You've got to have when the immigration come to visit you at the house, you've got to have a different witness to say that they know you. I have to prove every year that I'm still married, so we have to go to the local AMPER and they fill out form. It's only 50 baht, but you go to them and they look at the records and say, yes, you're still married, so you get it's a Core 2 piece of paper, it's called, and that proves that you're still married. Then I have to get the information from the landlady to say that we're renting the house. She has to sign it. She has to give or he has to sign it, whoever the landlord is, has to give his ID card, sign the ID card. And what our immigration officer has done is wants to know that they own the house that we rent. So we have to have a copy of the shnut and a copy of the house book. So our immigration officer asks for more paperwork than this statistically what they say on the website to get a marriage visa. Our immigration officer also wants to see an electricity bill to say that we're using the electricity, even though this is the 5th year and she knows us now, and she still asks for more and more and more information over and above what's asked for. But is it impossible? No, it isn't impossible. It's just time consuming. But do I think it's worth it? Yes, I do. I think it's worth it. Because I think in the years to come, a marriage visa might be more favourable for anything. It's like now I can get a work permit more easier now, because on a retirement visa you can't work, you can't do anything whatsoever. But on a marriage visa, you can actually get a work permit if you so desire, or it helps for you to get a work permit. Does a UK marriage certificate count because we were married in the UK? Yes, it does count, but what you have to do, you've got to go and get it translated into Thai, and then you've got to go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bangkok, and they have to stamp it to say that it's a valid piece of paper. I do believe also you've got to get it stamped at the Bangkok or the British Embassy or American Embassy, whichever country you're from, to say that it's a genuine copy. So it can be done. Yes, it can be done. Marriage visa of Thailand sounds pretty straightforward compared to the UK. Again, there's people I know that have took the Thai wives back to England, and they complain about all the paperwork that they have to do. They have to have a certain amount of income for the wives to come over there in the first place. They're not allowed to work. They have to be there for so long. So it's just as complicated in other countries as it is here in Thailand. Thankfully, my wife has no desire to ever set foot in England, and neither do I want to take her back to England, because it's so expensive to take her back to England. Okay, right. So we've sort of got off the subject a little bit, haven't we? So let's answer a couple of these questions that other people have asked, and I answered on the American live stream this morning. Now, some people said to me, and I'm going to mention this because the person was quite adamant that I mention this, or he was quite adamant that I should mention it. And it's about drugs, crime, and homelessness here in Thailand. And of course, there is drugs, there is crime, and there is homelessness in Thailand, as there is in many other countries. But you do not see what goes on in this country as much as you see in America and England. With the homelessness in America, it's like epidemic proportions. Tent cities in in Hollywood, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York. I think that they're taking in something like 500 immigrants a day in New York, and they're putting them all up now in hotels, a bit like England. So that's a huge problem. You don't have that problem over here in Thailand. The only time I actually seen poverty and homelessness was through COVID. The rest of the time, you see the odd homeless person and that, but you don't see tent cities like you do in America or in parts of England now. Crime. I worked with the probation service when I was in England for a number of years. And I also worked with hard to reach groups. People used to steal cars and used to come onto the fire brigade on one of my programs. So I dealt with criminals. I dealt with all sorts of people with crime 14, 15 years ago. And now crime has got even worse. They followed the American way of doing it. Like in America, when they said, if you steal anything for less than $950, it's a misdemeanor. It isn't a crime. It doesn't go down as a crime. It's a misdemeanor. And in England, £250 worth of stuff, if you steal it, it's not classed as a crime. So that's basically giving all the criminals like, oh, there you go, there's your shopping list. As long as it's under 250 quid, you're not going to get into trouble for it. And there's something like 40 or 50 crimes you've got to commit before you even go to jail. The prisons here in Thailand are so severe, nobody wants to go back to jail. So the crime rate, although there is crime in Thailand, and there always will be crime in Thailand, is nowhere near the extent it is in the Western world. Drugs is available everywhere in the world, and Thailand is no exception. Yaba is the biggest thing over here in Thailand, and but yeah, But do I see it in here? I've lived in this village now for 7 years. The only thing that happened in this village in 7 years, there was 2 or 3 bunches of bananas that were stole from the banana plantation. That's some criminal record for a village, isn't it? 2 or 3 bunches of bananas. You know, there's no... I leave my tools out here. I've got a whippersnipper and hedge trimmers and things like that. I leave them outside, not locked up, just outside. Nothing in 7 years has been stolen. I tell a lie. I did have something stolen the other week, a flip-flop. Somebody stole a flip-flop. So I looked on the CCTV and it was a dog. A dog had come in, chewed me flip-flop and took it away with him. That's the only thing I've ever had stolen from here, a flip-flop. And it was a white dog, and I know where he lives. Okay, all right, let's get back onto this. I can confirm getting your Thai wife a visa for the UK is a lot more expensive and hard work. Yeah. A friend of mine wanted to take his wife to England, and then it was going to cost him 30,000 baht from an agent because his wife doesn't work, so she can't show her income, although she's got property and kids over here. 30,000 baht, and the agent said, I'll get your wife or your girlfriend a visa if she wants to go, but it's going to start at 30,000 baht. Then there's the flights for another 30,000. So there's 60,000 baht before she even sets foot into England. And you imagine, you know, you're not going to want to stay at home all the time. You know, you want to show around and all the you know, favourite location, London and Edinburgh, you know, all the nice places, which at £100 a night for a hotel isn't going to be cheap, is it? So I'd sooner spend any of that money on holidays to Malaysia, Vietnam. That money goes a lot further, and the Thais don't have to bother getting a visa to go to them countries. I expect the GBP pound to fall against the Thai baht over the next 5 years. Yeah, well, it goes up and down. It goes up and down. Yeah, it's like a lead balloon. Once Brexit happened, it fell like a lead balloon. So I lost personally £380 a month because of Brexit, and it's never ever recovered. And today I think 44 point something compared to the days of 15. I remember the days it was 65, and it was wonderful. We need to have the Thais look at after our immigration. Yeah. No, you just get a boat, and what makes me laugh is that they're on about the French. The French, we can't take them back to the French. It wouldn't surprise me. The £450 million we're giving them every year. The French are buying the boats and saying, why would the French want the people back? Why, if there's 70 people in the boat, that's 70 less people the French have to deal with. So nothing is being said about the French saying, we don't want them back. It wouldn't surprise me if they're buying the boats and putting them on the boats and giving them the life jackets and say England is that way. Because if the boot was on the other foot, we'd be doing that. In England, we'd be giving them the boats, and France is in that direction. Why do France want to keep these people? Because they're going to do some criminal work in France as well. If they've got no money, that's what's going to happen. It's just crazy. Our country, England, is going to the dogs. And heard the news this morning about Richie Sunak. There's loads of votes of no confidence going in. So we might yet have another prime minister before the election day. Do you think the Conservatives are going to win next year? I think not. They haven't done anything that they're going to say they're going to do. They've been in power for 13 years. The whole country is in a mess. Remember 2008 financial crash? We're all in it together. 15 years later, do you feel any better off than that? Do you think we've really got out of the boat and, you know, we're all in a better financial position? We're not. I'm saying we're because I'm still looking at England. I'm in a financially better position because I got out of there. And this is one of the main things that the people who come and talk to me on this, they want to escape England or America or Australia as well, because they're all going down the tubes. So remember the good old days. This house that I'm living in now is probably worth £70,000. £70,000. In fact, I'm going to do another video in the next week or two, because somebody's asked me, because I did a video living on 50,000 baht a month. I live on now 60,000 baht a month. So this house, £68,000, is the same value as what the very first house that I bought, a 1-bedroom bungalow. It was, when I bought it, was £14,000, and now it's going up for sale for £71,000 for a 1-bedroom bungalow. And I've got this in a beautiful location for the same price as a 1-bedroom bungalow in England. No council tax, no water rates, nothing. I got my water bill in this morning whilst I was doing the other. There you go, 90 baht for the water. That's £2 for a month's worth of water. Electricity, 800 baht a month, 17 pounds a month. Why doesn't people want to wake up and smell the coffee and look for somewhere that they can live the good old days where, you know, only one person needs to work to make an income, and retire at a sensible age? Because 63, I've got more years behind me now than I have in front of me, and I want to have my golden years in a nice location, laying on a hammock, sitting on there watching the sunrise. There is a better life if you're prepared to look outside of the box, and it doesn't have to be Thailand. It can be many other countries. But because of Brexit, watching a couple of documentaries, wow, even that's become more of a headache now. In France, you have to speak fluent French to be able to get a citizenship in France. Same within Spain, you have to speak fluent Spanish. So Brexit has caused a lot of problems for those people who want to go live the dream elsewhere in the world. So can anybody see a way back? Anybody see a way back of what we can do? Just put it in the comments, you know, because I'm sure Richie's son, I'd like to see ways of doing everything, because I think it's a difficult game to play. How can we go back to where we were before? I think we've kicked the can too far down the street to be able to reverse it and come back and make everything. What would make everything perfect in England? What could they do now that's affordable to make everything? Because all I can see is all of the elite government that's telling everybody else, they've got the snouts in the trough, lining their pockets with as much money as and assets as they can get, because they know they're going to be chucked out next year. They're raping and pillaging our country for their own means, and then the next government's going to come in and do exactly the same, put the snouts in the trough. Yeah. Anyway, I could talk about politics all day. Where would you, for your 90-day visa, when you live in the village nearest town, where would I would live is called Pitchet. Rayong is our immigration office, and it's 45 minutes away from where we live. But I do it online. And it's easy to do. It takes all of 5 minutes. It might take a day or two before it gets granted, but I do it a week beforehand. So if for whatever reason it doesn't get granted, you're allowed 7 days before, and I think 7 days afterwards, after it's due, before you start paying any fines. So I always put it in the diary and make sure 7 days before that I do it, so I have enough time to be able to do it. Planning and preparation prevents PPP. What about you, Les? It's finished. God help the UK. Yeah. Again, yeah. Just, it amazes me the amount of ways they find to tax people. The tax people upon tax upon tax upon tax. I read somewhere in how many. There's something like in a 10-year period, there was 100 new taxes that were implemented into what people had to pay in England. 100 new taxes in 10 years. And do we all feel any benefits of paying these extra tax? No. I still pay my tax. My tax gets taxed on my pension, and but I get no benefits out of it. So when people tell me that I should pay for the NHS treatment, I still pay my taxes. So come on, give me a little bit of you know, I'm lost for words. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Let me have a little bit of health treatment if I need it, because I'm paying tax. It's my choice to leave the country, I know, but the taxes are still getting paid into England to help the young people who decide to come and live in England for the rest of their lives, and we will pay it. I don't know whether anybody watched one of my other videos, but I did a little analogy. The government said for immigration, for people who, one person who illegally enters the UK, it costs the government £160,000. Now, the average wage for a working man in England is about 30,000, and he pays just short of £3,500 a year in tax. So that 45 years of this guy paying tax pays for one illegal immigrant for a year. 45. So just wipe out the rest of his tax for the rest of his life, working career, to pay for one guy who's come here on a rubber boat. So I can understand it's all our money that's getting wasted. The barges, the hotels, the changing of the the establishments where the army used to stay, updating them and things like that. It's all our money, and they just willy-nilly throw it away. When Liz Truss was Prime Minister and Kwasi, whatever they call him, did his budget, cost the government, or cost the taxpayers £30 billion. And what was his answer? It was a bit of turbulence. £30 billion just gone. Crazy. I'm from Belgium. I'm a 15-year. I saw it coming. Just have to wait for the retirement check every month for 2 years, but then I lived the happy life for 17 years. Good for you, yeah. People can see it coming now, and people have got their eyes open. And let's face it, we all deserve, in our golden years, our retirement life, a better life. And for me, if you have to leave the country and go and find it somewhere else, go and find it somewhere else, because you're a long time dead. So go and look for it wherever you can get it. And for me, it's not 100% perfect, Thailand, but I would go with 90%, and I'm happy with the 90%. Yeah, you're right about the French. I would fight for my country. I would put in prison for authorities. I'd also ridiculed by the younger generation. I'm off to sunnier climes. Yep. The youth of today. I used to deal with them like 15 years ago. No respect for anything or anybody. And it's just got worse. Hanging around looking menacing and outside of shops and things like that. It's not a lifestyle that we should be living with. Older people feel vulnerable and walking past these menacing groups. And yeah, anyway, that's that. Controversial question. Should expats in Thailand be required to learn to speak the Thai language? Not advanced, but enough to pass a conversational Thai test at the immigration for your visa renewal. It's not controversial, no. I do speak a little bit of Thai, and it is a very, very little bit of Thai. But how many people live in every country that can't speak the language that's spoken in the country? If I wanted citizenship here, then I'd have to be able to speak Thai. And you get an exam where you get Thai. And if people want citizenship in the UK, they have to be able to speak English and do a history test and know the answers. So I looked at citizenship here in Thailand, but, and here's the irony of it, if I wanted Thai citizenship here, it's going to cost me 90,000 baht if I was on a work permit. And if I wasn't on a work permit, it's going to cost me 150,000 baht to get Thai citizenship. And it cost me 1,900 baht a year for a marriage visa. So how many 1,900 bahts, let's say 2,000 baht for ease of working out, in 90,000 to become a citizen over here? And the only difference is becoming a citizen over here is that I can buy land and I can work and things like that. So I'd sooner pay the 2,000 baht a year and not being able to speak Thai. And I live here. But Thailand wants the money from the tourists. So they have some flexibility, and if you can't speak the language, they're still taking money, whether you can speak the language or not. If they actually put that into force and practice, how many people would leave Thailand? Thousands of people, because thousands of people can't speak Thai. And I've actually tried to learn the Thai language, which is very, very, very difficult. I mean, I'll just give you one example. Cow has 5 or 6 different meanings, depending how strong you say it, how soft you say it, tonal, high or low. 5 different words is cow, and that's just one word. So Thai is actually very, very difficult. And I'm not good at learning foreign languages. When I lived in Italy, I could speak a bit of Italian and I could speak a little bit of French, but the Thai is so difficult to learn. And so yeah, it's not controversial. You're correct. We should all be able to speak a little bit of a language in the country that we're living in. Let's have a look. Les, will you cheer up? Stop running the country down. I'm not running the country down. The country's running itself down. You know, come on, give me one good thing that's happening in the UK at the minute. Just give me one good thing what's happening in the UK, and I'll stop it. I'm not running the country down. I'm just saying what's happened, what I can see from a distance. And for those people who can leave a sinking ship, leave a sinking ship. But that's my own personal opinion. There's thousands of people who are actually living in the UK and love it and would never want to live anywhere else. Good luck to these people. This is my opinion, remember. You know, I'm not running the country down. I'm just merely talking about what's actually happening and what other people can see. And the thousands of people, not just in England, but also America, Europe, and Australia. So am I the only one who's running the country down? No. They can go away for less than 30 days for a holiday and still retain their means tested benefits. So I'm 64 years old and did my MA in Thai yonks ago. Now live in Laos and worked as a teacher in Burma. So I made the effort to learn both Burmese and Lao. Very well done, sir. Very well done. Okay. Just speak Thai to make some conversation in the market, to be funny with my Thai friends and the rest. I totally agree with you, Les. It is what it is in the UK. I'm just sad to see how things are running. I don't mean to run England down, but like I say to people, tell me one good thing that's happening. Just one good thing in England, what's happening at the minute. And but I can name 100 things that's going wrong and bad in the UK at the minute. But I can't name one good thing at all. So, well, that's the same in America and Australia, because I get it so many times of so many people, and just name one good thing and I'll be happy at that. So anyway, let's go on to something else. Thailand isn't for everybody. Okay, Thailand isn't for everybody. And we'll go on from there and we'll talk about Thailand isn't for everybody, and that is true. And there are people thinking Thailand is the utopia and it's the best thing since sliced bread, but you can be very, very lonely here in Thailand. I've got to say, I've lived here for almost 12 years and I've never been bored and I've never felt uneasy here, but I have felt lonely. There was a period when I lived in Jomtien and Pattaya for 9 months and I felt lonely in Pattaya. and it wasn't a very nice feeling, because once you've been to Pattaya, it's like Pinocchio. I call it Pinocchio land, because there's a price to pay if you live in Pattaya all the time, and it's totally and utterly false. This is the real Thailand outside of Pattaya. This is beautiful here. I've loved every minute since I've been here. This is the real Thailand, and it's not make-believe as it is in Pattaya. For those people who live in a remote area of Thailand, like the house in the middle of the country, you can feel lonely there, because if you've got nobody to talk to, then all you hear is Thai, Thai, Thai. And unless you can speak Thai, which is very difficult anyway, we've already discussed that, you can have a lonely life. You can have, the nicest house in the village. You can have all your toys, your TVs and your hi-fis and things like that. But if you've got nobody to talk to, you can be very lonely over here. Thankfully, I've got a wife who can speak very good English, so we can have a proper conversation. I've got quite a number of friends who live around us, so we have a good social network. So I've always got somebody to talk to. But for instance, if I lived at my wife's farm, she lives in a very remote village up in Karat, there isn't another foreigner in the village. So we did discuss with the fact of living in her farm. Then I wouldn't have had to pay any rent. She has a beautiful house, beautiful farm. Her parents are beautiful people. Everybody's friendly at the village, but I'd be the only foreigner. So I said to my wife, listen, if we ever lived here, I want every 6 weeks to go away for 2 weeks just to have that conversation with other foreigners, because it just drive you up. Well, it would drive me up the wall. But where we are here, some people think I live at a remote, but I actually don't. 5 minutes away from the beach, 15 minutes away from Macro and Lotus, 40 minutes away from a big shopping centre, in a big city type of thing. I don't think that's too remote. In England, to live in the countryside, where you're 30 minutes away from everywhere, costs you an absolute fortune to live that lifestyle over there. But here, it suits me anyway. But yeah, you can feel lonely here in Thailand. Also, you have a smaller pool of people that you can associate with, if you like. Around here, we have Canadians, Germans, English people. And there's some of these people we don't mix with, because they are a different group to us, and we don't see eye to eye and everything that there. So we keep ourselves to ourselves. And we have our own group of people that we associate with and that we mix with. But back in your home countries, you have a bigger pool of people that you can be friendly with. But over in Thailand, the pool is less, and you maybe not see eye to eye with everybody. So that can also create loneliness and bad feelings. It is what it is. It's getting used to it. And if you like your own company, then you're well on your way to being able to live here and retire here successfully. Right. Yeah. Increases with inflation. Yeah. Money. Yeah. The monthly inflation rate is going to be calculated in this month. I reckon it'll be about 6 or 7%. It's calculated next month, October. So October is the date. October the 25th to 28th is the day that they decide on what the inflation rate was for September. And that's what percentage we'll get next year. I think between 6 and 7%. And that's just another good wage rise, or another good rise for pensioners if it's 6 or 7%. But do I think there'll be some repercussions? Yes, I do, because they don't want to pay that amount of money to pensioners. I know where you're coming from, Les. I'm in Karat and aim to travel to the beach for a few weeks every few months. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I mean, she lives in a beautiful village, and I love it. The scenery is very nice, with it over the fields and things, but it's very flat and featureless. There's a couple of small hills around there, but stunningly beautiful scenery. but we're 90 kilometers from the city centre. So it's like a big day out if you go to the city centre. The village that she lives in, there isn't even a 7-Eleven. Small mom and pop shops. The nearest sort of town and the hospital is 30 kilometers away. So it's like big distances to go anywhere, really. So we discussed about whether we're going to move up to there or we're going to stay here. And my wife also said that if we moved up to the farm, she would be expected to work on the farm because she's the daughter, and whereas she would be expected to get up at 5 o'clock every morning and go to work on the farm and help out at the farm. And so I'd be left alone all day as well. Where here, Ploy gets up whenever she wants. She has a good lifestyle here, and we can do as and what we want when we want. But if we were living at the farm, even though we're married, she'd be expected to work, and I would be even more on my own there because it'd be expected to be, you know, your wife has to work on the farm to help the family. So yeah, it's a different lifestyle living in a family. You know, when you live with family members up at the family farm, I know there's a few people who live with the whole family. I like my own space. Like the house now, and my wife is selling sausages on the seafront. She's got a little business on the weekend. She sells food on the beach on the weekend, just so she can talk to her Thai friends and have a little bit of, you know, Thai banter with Thai people. I like it when she goes away because I can go on that thing there, or I can sit on the sofa. I can do what I want because it's my time. You don't have to live in each other's pockets, you know, for 24 hours a day. We go everywhere together. We have a good lifestyle together. We get on well together. And so we've been married now for, you know, well, we've been together over 7 years. And have we had arguments? Everybody has arguments. So yes, but I have a good lifestyle with her and she has a good lifestyle with me. But if we lived at her farm, it'd be a totally different lifestyle. And I think the cracks would have appeared if we lived in such a remote area. But I love it here. Beautiful. Right, okay, let's get on to something else. Realistic with a budget. Thailand is a cheap place to live, but you've got to be realistic with your budget. Your budget for living over here. You can live very cheaply, but how cheap do you want to live? I've done videos where you can live on 35,000 baht a month, which is just like what the state pension is in England at the minute. You can live on that. In fact, I've talked to a couple of guys who that's all they will be living on. And you can live on that amount of money. Let's say in a studio apartment, which we would call a bedsit in England, a bedsit, for 6,000 baht a month. You couldn't get a bedsit in England for the equivalent of 6,000 baht a month. About £150 a month. What would you get in England for £150 a month? For £150 a month here, you get a 42 square metre studio with no council tax to pay, with air conditioning, in a gated community, so you're 100% safe, with security guards, in quite a nice resort area with 2 big swimming pools, and transportation, 10 baht to get into Pattaya, 20 baht to get back. And that's £150 a month. Could you live in England for could you find accommodation for £150 a month? It'd be some cardboard box or something like that. So you can live on a reasonable budget, or a reasonable amount of money here, less than £1,000. You could still live a better life over here than you could in England. I'll give you for an example. There's a guy that I know that lives on £800 a month. He likes his beer and he drinks every day. He only pays 4,000 baht a month for his studio accommodation, and he has his adult entertainment once a week, every week, on £800 a month, and he manages quite well on that. He's quite a character, and he lives a good lifestyle on that amount of money. So it can be done. Not perfect, no, but we'd all like a little bit more money. We'd all like to be able to do different things, but you cut your cloth to suit what you need, and you go from there. Hi Les, is it possible to go to Rayong from Pattaya and back as a day trip? Is there public transport for this? Cheers. Yes, you can come to Rayong. There's public buses from Pattaya to here by car is an hour and 20 minutes. So it's not too far by taxi. And it's about 1,000 baht, I think it is, if you catch a taxi. But the bus, less than 100 baht, I think it is, for the public bus. And the public bus drops you off at Banpay, which is just walking distance over the road to the ferry over to Koh Samet, and you can get to Koh Samet within 30 minutes. Koh Samet's a beautiful, beautiful island. It's got one of the top 10 whitest beaches in the world. So yeah, Rayong has a lot going for it, in my mind. It's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody, but it suits me. I'm from Leicester, moved to Thailand, Lao, Burma around 2002. I see it, yonks, that made me think that. With a state pension and house to rent out in England, you'd be minted in Thailand. Yep, you can, yeah. House rent out, if you got a house rented out for about, say, £500 a month, and you're £800, so yeah, £1,300. That's roughly what I spend a month now. 60,000 baht, which is about £1,300. 13 years, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's about £1,300 a month that I live on now here. It used to be 50,000 baht a month, but that was 4 years ago, and things have gone up from now. And now we're buying this house as opposed to just renting it, so we're spending a little bit more money. But it's a good lifestyle on that amount of money. £1,400. What would I get in England for £1,400? In fact, I'm going to do another video with regard to what £1,400 would get me in England, because when I was over there for the 9 weeks, I did actually look at some properties, especially when the doctor said I had emphysema. I thought, oh, maybe they're going to have to do some more tests. So I would looking at houses to rent if I had to stay there for like 4 or 5 months or whatever to get some investigation work done. And it was just like you could get nothing for £600 a month. And then there was council tax on that. So £750 a month, which was half of my pension, because I get no benefits from the government because I've been living out of the country. So I get nothing. So £750 is half of my monthly income. And then I'd have to pay, because we're paying the rent for this house and things like that. So I'd have nothing to live on. So I couldn't afford to move back to the UK. Not that I ever want to move back to the UK. What's good about UK? You say you've got no income, you can get help to pay for the benefit system. Thailand, no help. Exactly, no help in Thailand. But Thailand have never had any help. Never. It's just the way it is, but people get on with it. But how many people are on benefits in England but still commit crime, robberies and drugs and things like that? And they get the housing benefits, they get all sorts of benefits for whatever, but crime is rife in the UK with benefits. So which is a better country, the country with no benefits or the country with benefits? But at the end of the day, I'm not entitled to any benefits because I left the country, which I've never, ever, ever had benefits at all, anything from the UK, and I never would do. So if you want to live on benefits in the UK, well, then there are plenty of people who live on benefits in the UK, and it's a safety net for those people who live in the UK, and I've got nothing against that, because some people, vulnerable people, need benefits and things like that. So yeah, it's a safety net, but that safety net doesn't apply over here because the family look after family over here, where in England we get rid of the family as soon as you leave school. You're expected to pay rent and provide income for the house that you're living in, which isn't a bad thing. But over here, the whole family works together. It's a more family orientated culture over here in compared to England. The living costs, rent, electricity bills, etc., were beyond my means because I do not believe in being a leech on the benefit system. If you don't have the money to do it, then I don't do it. Oh, well, good for you, you know. But the benefit system is there, and there are plenty of leeches who will take the money, you know. And the biggest leeches are the people who are in charge of the government with their expenses for a duck house and things like that, you know. And if they get caught fiddling the system, oh, I'm sorry, it was an oversight. Oh, I'm sorry, you know. Yeah, I'll give it back. Don't worry, I'll give it all back. You know, they are stealing the money out of the working class people's pockets. And don't do as I say. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Is the government. Look at the gecko on the brick post. Oh, over there, yeah. Yeah. We've got lots of them. When people see me car washing videos, because I parked the car underneath the shaded area, and the geckos are up there, and I have a light which is on there, and that attracts the mosquitoes and the bugs, and the geckos crap all over my car. Just the way it is. Geckos are everywhere here, in the house, outside the house, and they're everywhere. But they eat the mosquitoes and eat the bugs, so yeah, we'll put up with it. But we've got some lizards as well, about that long, lizards that sit underneath the sofa. They're probably now at the back of the cushions. So there was one time I sat on the sofa and I squished one of the lizards. So now I always look underneath the cushions to see where the lizards are. And they're not scary. You just shush them away and away they go. They're actually quite colourful and quite friendly. We don't feed them or anything, but we also, you can't see of the house, we have because we have the doors open to get the ventilation through the house, but we have a sheet so none of the creepy crawlies can creep into the house. That's another one gone. So has anybody got any other questions? Right, Les, is it true Thai banks only cover you? Yep, it's true. The first $1 million baht is covered, and that's it. There's a lizard on the brick pillar. Yeah, it's here. Little geckos. There's lots of them. They're everywhere here, and we've got a thing called tuck hairs. We're about that long. We have lizards about that long as well. So, friendly little things. It's just the way it is. You know, because we live in the countryside as well. We've had a few snakes about. About living here for 12 years, I've never seen a cobra, but I've seen tree snakes and grass snakes and rat snakes. But you just take steps, big steps in the opposite direction to them. And, you know, you don't leave stuff all over the place. So the snakes could have little hidey holes. It's been a little bit careful with leaving stuff outside and things like that. And now, because it's rainy season, there's a lot more frogs. Because there's a lot more frogs, there's a lot more snakes, because the snakes eat the frogs. In fact, we've got a big frog down by the side table. It's about that big, and he's just sat there. And when it gets dark, he'll hop off somewhere and he'll go somewhere. Okay, right. Have I eaten rats? No, I haven't. But Ployd's family breed the rats and sell the rats up in Karat. And actually, a rat is more expensive than a chicken, because they breed chickens as well and rats. And but the rats are not like you see the sewer rats, dirty, mingy, horrible things. You know, the fur on these rats are beautiful. You know, they're well taken care of and well looked after. And they're quite a delicacy up in Karat. But yeah, rats. I wouldn't eat a rat. Also here, chicken feet. Chicken feet is quite a delicacy. And you can go to Macro and there's a great big container full of chicken feet. You know, would I eat chicken's feet? No, not at all. But chicken's feet are quite a delicacy. Same as bugs and critters and internal organs. They just eat everything over here in Thailand. But I pick and choose what I want to eat. And if we go to the markets, I don't like liver, and I don't like black pudding and stuff like that, or blood. So we know the people that sell the stuff that we like, but you get used to that. But I love Thai food, a lot of Thai food, but I don't eat the internal organs or the chicken's feet or bugs. No, I do draw the line at some things. I'm trying to convince a few friends in the UK with a private pension to calculate the 4% rule, which would release an income at 55. Yeah, people don't save for the retirement. People don't really. I mean, I'm lucky. I joined the right job at the right time, and they took the money from my salary every month and give me the pension that I've got now. I had no idea when I joined the Fire Brigade at 19 about pensions and things like that. It's just like, yeah, okay, because I worked at the steelwork, and they did the same thing. They took money out of my salary every month to put into a pension. And I don't think young people think about pensions. And it's only when you get older and you draw your pension, you think, maybe I should have done something a little bit earlier. Because let's face it, everybody wants the money now. They don't look upon when it's 60-year-old, or it'll be nearly 70-year-old by the time the 20-year-olds retire. Now, they don't think of that. You know, who does? Because you want your money now. So I would agree, you know, you need to start saving for your pension a lot earlier. Any tips on bank accounts and minimizing bank charges and the exchange fees? Yeah. Bank accounts over here, you need an agent to open up a bank account. It's much more difficult now to open a bank account here than it ever has been. But an agent will do it for about 4,500-5,000 baht. I transfer my money from Barclays Bank over to Wise, and then Wise send it over to England, send it over to Thailand. And for £1,300, that cost me £7 a month. No, it cost me £7 to transfer £1,300 over to here to Thailand. So that's the cheapest way of actually sending money over to Thailand from England. £7 for £1,300. The exchange rate is a good exchange rate with Wise. It's far better than that you get from bank to bank transfers. And if you open up a Thai bank account, you can withdraw your money. And if you pay everything by the bank with the app, doesn't cost you anything to transfer money over to another account or pay bills or whatever, but it cost me 30 baht to withdraw 20,000 baht a month, because that's me spending money for the month. So I draw that out at one time, and it's 30 baht. And that's because my main Bangkok bank is in Pattaya and it's not in Rayong. If it was in Rayong, that transfer fee wouldn't cost anything. But I asked whether I could transfer the Bangkok bank over from Pattaya to Rayong, and they said I'd have to go to Pattaya to cancel that bank account. Then I'd have to reopen the bank account here in Rayong. So even though it's a Bangkok bank and that's throughout the whole of Thailand, to save that 30 baht, I'd have to cancel the one at Pattaya and reopen again at Rayong. And as it's such a difficult thing to open up a bank account, I'll pay the 30 baht. That's the simplest and easiest way of doing it. But yeah, use an agent to open up a bank account, because it's so difficult to do now over here. You used to be able to do it on a tourist visa, but now you can't. And it's a bit like a chicken and egg situation. You need the visa to open up a bank account. You need a bank account to open up a visa. That's why agents can do all of that work for you. Right, let's have a look. How much are you charged if you use your Thai ATM card in another province? 30 baht, usually about 30 baht. And that's if you also use a different, like Kasikorn and Bangkok Bank or SCB Bank. It's usually about a 30 baht charge. But that's what I'm saying. I take my 20,000 out every month. So I have that in cash, and I just take whatever I need, so I don't have to use the ATMs anymore. So you become a bit savvy, because nobody likes to pay bank charges, and that's what we do. What is the best advice you would give to anyone considering moving to Thailand? Do your planning, preparation and planning. Live here for a year before you buy anything. Rent various locations around Thailand. You've got to have an income living here. All of these people say you can work online, you can do teaching jobs and things like that. A teaching job over here only pays less, well, up to 30,000 baht, which isn't enough to live on really. And people, when you come over here to Thailand, really, why do you want to work 5 or 6 days a week? If you come here to retire, you need an income. You can live here on your state pension. Not a perfect lifestyle, but it's still better than other places that you could live. So travel all over Thailand. There are some cheap accommodations available no matter where you go in Thailand. Transportation, you need transportation in most places. In Thailand, you need a car or a motorbike, a scooter. Even though, like in Jomtien, Pattaya in Bangkok, you can get around on public transport. But on the whole, you need a car and transport to be able to get around Thailand. Otherwise, taxis and like where we live, there's no taxis, there's no Grab, or there's no Uber taxis here. That's why you need a car. So the more remote you live, the more difficult it is to get around, and that's why you need a car or a motorbike. Okay, looking at property to rent in Rayong, and what I saw was not particularly cheap. What is cheap? What is particularly cheap? Because there's a lovely 1-bedroomed apartment just around the corner from me. You need transport, you need a motorbike, or you need a car. 5 minutes away from the beach, beautiful restaurants, a couple of little bars that are not too far away, 15 minutes away from a shopping that you want, 40 minutes away from a big shopping centre, 7,000. And for 10,000 baht a month, you can get a 2-bedroom bungalow in a resort, nice accommodation with a communal pool. How much cheaper do you want to go from that? As I say, if you want to go live in Jomtien, 6,000 baht for a 42 square meter apartment in a big complex with 2 swimming pools. So how cheap is cheap do you want? I used to pay 3,000 baht for a shop house, and I ran the coffee shop. So that was the cheapest rent that I've ever paid anywhere in Thailand, 3,000 baht per month. So 6 or 10,000 too much? Not particularly cheap. Okay, I feel very, very lucky that I was able to retire at 50. Now I'm over 55, able to service the visa on the 65,000 baht road. Yeah, fantastic. I retired at 50 and never regretted it. And I never want to retire from being retired. I've traveled the world. I've traveled to many, many places. Now imagine starting to do that at 66 or 67 when you can retire. I just wouldn't be as fit as where I was when I was 50-year-old to do all of them things. I've lived I've worked all over the place in Italy, Spain, France, Australia. I've worked in some beautiful places. And when I say work, it's like you do 4 or 5 hours work a day for free accommodation and free food in various locations. I did house sitting. We stayed at a beautiful house in Orvieto, Italy, for 3.5 months, and our job was to look after a cat. And the accommodation was free for 3.5 months in a stunningly beautiful location. These are the things you can do when you retire. But I did all of this like when I was 50, so congratulations at retiring at 55. At 66, 67, you're on the upper age limit for things starting to go wrong. Your body doesn't work as good as it used to do when you were 50, 55. So retire when you can, and retire for as long as you can, and do wherever you can whilst you can. when you first come and before you have a bank account, what is the best way to bring money over? Cash. Bring cash with you. If you're going to Pattaya, there are many, many exchange booths where you get a better rate for your cash than you do at the banks. But in Bangkok, I have a few exchange places as well. But anywhere else, really, it's just the banks, and your banks, you don't get as good of an exchange rate as what you do with the money changing booths. And they're legal and they're good, and you don't get ripped off like you do in other countries. Like I got ripped off in an exchange booth in Bali, but that's another story. So yeah, I would bring cash with you. And if you're going to live here, open up a bank account, because then that's the easiest and cheapest way of sending money over to Thailand. What do you need to be able to get a bike license if you don't have a UK bike license? Well, you can't get a motorbike license on a tourist visa. So one, you need a retirement visa, education visa, or some other long stay visa before you can actually apply for a motorbike license over here. But if you've got one of them visas, it takes maybe 1 or 2 days to get your motorbike license. The longest part of getting a motorbike license is there's a 3-hour video which you've got to watch. There is a question and answer where you do it on computer, and it's all in English and Thai, but it's not difficult to do. There are, again, agents who will give you all of the questions that you're likely to get asked and the answers. So you just read the book and you go in for the exam. And even if you're still not sure of the exam, you can pay somebody else to come and sit next to you and tell you what answers to write. And then the actual practical side of your motorbike test is 2 minutes long, and it's all done in a compound, literally 2 minutes. And then after that, you get your license issued on the same day, and away you go. And your first license lasts for 2 years, and your second license lasts for 5 years. Then every 5 years you get it renewed. You've got to do a visual test for color blindness, and that's one big thing over here. If you suffer from color blindness, you ain't going to get a license over here at all, because color blindness, they don't give you a license if you're colorblind. Strange, I know, but that's the way it is. And then you have to do a reaction test. Then there's a periphery test. So there's a few tests to do, but they're not too difficult to do. Anybody can sort of pass it. So it's not difficult to do, but it's a long affair. It can take up to 2 days to get. That's why there's so many Thai people don't have a license, because it takes a long time. Even for Thai people, it could take up to 2 days. So that's 2 days' salary they would lose trying to get a license. So yeah, it's not difficult at all. It looks very idyllic where you live, Les. You clearly have the support of a lovely wife, but would it be suitable for a single chap? For example, is there any expat meets or activities in the area? I would say it's not suitable for a single guy. We do have a brunch club every Thursday. We go for breakfast, and I'm sort of a member of 2 little groups, and 2 days a week we go down to the beach and we just sit and have a drink for a couple of hours, put the world to right, and then we have the brunch group, which goes to various restaurants every Thursday, 11 o'clock, and again we have a chinwag. So yeah, there is various groups. There are girly bars here in Rayong where you can go and get adult entertainment. There is the entertainment if you want the entertainment here, but not as much as it is in Jomtien or Pattaya. Where I live, in the countryside type thing, it is you're better off if you've got a partner. Being a single guy over here, you could be very bored very quickly. But that's not to say that you can't get a nice girlfriend here. A lot of people don't like the bar girls in Pattaya, but there are nice girls that work around here as well, in the restaurants and in the mom and pop shops and things like that. So, and if you want a girlfriend type thing, be friendly with other guys in various groups. and other guys are married to Thai girls or with Thai girls who know the Thai girls who are looking for foreigners. So you can still get fixed up. It's just a different way of getting fixed up. But it is possible to come here as a single guy and find a nice relationship and live a happy life. There's more than one way to skin a cat over here. Can you have multiple Thai bank accounts as a foreigner? Yes, you can. Can you earn some interest in same interest as locals in the savings account? Yeah, you can. You can invest your money in all sorts of places and all sorts of things. So yes is the answer. You can invest your money on whatever. Most people invest it in the local bars and the local entertainment and the massage parlors and things. A lot of money gets spent in these areas. But if you want to save money and invest it wisely, you can. Can't really bring a suitcase full of cash. Yeah, but you bring a little bit of cash, open up a bank account, and then you can transfer the cash over to there. So you don't have to bring a big suitcase full of cash. But if you want somebody to hang on to your cash, just send it to my house and I'll look after it for you. I can give you so much every week so you don't spend it all. TransferWise seems like a good way to transfer money. It's called Wise now. It used to be called TransferWise, but it's called Wise now. But yeah, that's where I've used that for 10 years and I've never had any problems with it. And it's good. You get a good exchange rate and it's brilliant. What is the single scene like in Rayong, Les? Single scene it's available if you want. Like I said, the guy that is in his late 60s, he likes his beer. He's a very sociable guy and he has his little routine of where he goes drinking every day. And he has his adult entertainment every Saturday. He's a man of routine. And he gets what he wants and he has a happy life and he can do whatever he wants to do. If you want to live the single scene, the single man, really good, then you need to go to Pattaya. But that's a lot more money to live in Pattaya and live as a single man. But it is possible here, but you've got less choice here as a single man. But it's still available here. Basically, every single place that you go in Thailand, every place you go to, there will be the entertainment girls will be there, one place or another, in every village, in every location. Have you had any problems with Barclays when transferring money via Wise to Thailand? Never had any problems. In fact, the quickest that it ever arrived is 5 seconds. When I transferred the money from Barclays to Wise, 5 seconds later, it was in my bank account over here. If you do it on the first of the month or the last day of the month, it can take a little bit longer. It's like the 1st of September was on Friday, and I did the transfer at 9 o'clock in the morning here in Thailand, and it won't be into my bank account until 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon. Again, I think just the first of the month, there's that many transactions that are happening, it takes a little bit more time. But if you do it mid-month, halfway through the month, or a quarter way through the month, it is done much, much, much quicker. So never had a problem with Barclays and TransferWise. It's not all about having a girl. No, it isn't. You know, some people don't want a girlfriend. Some people just want to live a life without a girl, if you like. Just want to live a solitary life, and that can be done over here also. But again, it's not just a man's world as well. Like Kelly, the girl, the American girl that we've been helping over here. You know, she's a woman of 67-year-old who wants to come and live in Thailand because she feels safe, and she's trying to get a group of ladies from America to come over here. And it's, you know, it's much, much safer even for a lady to live over here than it is in America. So yeah, it's not all about the girls. I would say if you've got an alcohol problem in your home country, you can have a bigger alcohol problem over here. because boredom does set into some people. If you've got no other interests, then you become a bar stool warrior, and you put the world to right with a bar stool and Leo's and Singer and Chang or whatever, and then you're drinking every day, and that obviously leads towards drunkenness and things like that, bad-temperedness. So yeah, alcohol, if you've got an alcohol problem, you're probably going to end up with a worse alcohol problem here because of boredom. And it's not the same as like living in your own country where you can do something. If you're bored over here, people return to drink. But I've got to say, I've lived here and I've never been bored. I'm not a bored person. I've always got something to do. You know, I look after the house. I do me YouTube, which keeps me busy with talking. I mean, now we've been talking for 1 hour 55 minutes today on this channel, and on this morning I talked for 2 hours, and then I talked to a gentleman for an hour. So 2 hours for 5 hours I've been talking to different people today. But that's exceptional today, 5 hours. But yeah, you can be as sociable as you want or as unsociable as you want. It's up to you. The ball is in your court. Right, time for another drink. I don't know whether you can hear. Can you hear my voice going a little bit like hoarse? It's a little bit different. Tomorrow I probably won't be able to speak. But I am. Oh, there we go. So I say with me, my own personal preferences, I don't drink and drive. So if we ever go out somewhere, and because we live in the country, there's no taxis, so I always drive everywhere. So I never drink and drive. If we're going out with a group of people and it's like for a birthday party or something like that, we will rent a room next door to the venue or next door to wherever we're going, a small resort or something like that. And that's only you can get rooms here for 500 or 600 baht for the night, which is what, 12 quid, something like that. So I park the car up and go and have a few beers, and we go and sleep it off, and we get up in the morning, have breakfast, and we come home. And you know, that's cheaper than what it would be for a taxi in England. Imagine going out for a few beers and then getting a taxi home. In Redcar, I think that the taxi just from the town centre home was £6. So it's all preferences. You know, I've got to say the one bad thing that I don't particularly like about Thailand is the drink driving. The punishment. You're less likely to get caught by the police over here drink driving than you are in any of the Western countries. And for a small brown envelope, you can be put back into your car or put back onto your motorbike and sent off by the police over here. They don't treat it with the attitude I think that it should be treated, because there was one guy over here drinking and driving. He was mortally drunk, and he wasn't from this country. He was from a country where you drive on the other side of the road. He was drunk. He was driving on what he thought was the right side of the road, and a truck came along and he hit the truck, and he had an accident, and he ended up losing 2 toes on his foot because he was drunk. So it could have been a totally different story. And also a couple of times he's come home from the bar, fell off his motorbike at his house and slept on the stairs because he couldn't make it up the 6 steps to his condo. Now, if you're driving a motorbike home being that drunk, you're just waiting for an accident to happen. So you're less likely to get caught over here by the police than you are in any Western countries. And that's the one thing that I don't particularly like about the drink driving rules here, is so light. Okay. Do you get much rain during the rainy season, Rayong? How does it compare to the Northern Territories? Last year it was the worst rains in 30 years. This year it's the least rains that we've ever had. We're in September now. This should be the most rainiest months, September and October, because November is the start of the high season again. And I mean, everything, there's hardly any water and it's so dry. But there are other parts of Thailand that get a lot more rain than we do. Rayong, I think, is very good as far as rain's concerned. Although our house is called Lake House and we're surrounded by lakes here, we've never been flooded. We've never had water coming up towards the house, never, ever. But there are parts of Rayong that did get flooded last year. And but we're lucky where we live. Even though we're surrounded by lakes, it never gets that bad here. So, yeah, we get a fair amount. And when it does rain here. And when the thunderstorms come, there are big, massive thunderstorms. I love watching the thunderstorms. And they'll go on for an hour and a half. Big lightning strikes and just loud because it just rumbles. And I love to watch a good thunderstorm from underneath. I sit on that sofa there and I watch the thunder and lightning going on over there, and it's fantastic. It's really, really good. Let's have a look. Les, do you find it difficult to get your Thai family to wear a helmet on a motorbike and a seatbelt in the car? No, I don't. My wife always wears a helmet when she rides the scooter because I insist for her to wear a helmet when she rides the scooter. When she rides the Samlon, she's selling the sausages today and the snacks on the beach because it's a motorbike sidecar. She doesn't wear the helmet, and I can understand that because it catches the sort of roof of the top. And she drives incredibly slow anyway. But no, she doesn't wear a helmet when she's driving a motorbike or sidecar. I always wear a helmet, even if I'm just going around the corner. I'll wear the helmet. Seat belts, no problem wearing the seatbelt. Her son used to be annoyed with me because I keep telling him to put his seatbelt on in the back of the car when he was younger. But now we hardly go. He hardly comes with us any times anyway, and he only comes with us when we go up to the farm. But I always insist that he puts the seatbelt on. But you can tell he's not very happy, and he doesn't put it. He puts it around the side of his stomach so it's not across his chest. But yeah, the lack of safety over here for Thai people, it's actually a legal responsibility that you should wear your seatbelts. And even now, they're saying for kids should be in car seats at the back. They're way behind the Western world as far as safety is concerned and safety of passengers. Like how many people have you seen in the back of a truck? You know, back of a truck. I think there was a law came out, you can't carry more than 6 people in the back of a truck. You know, no seatbelts, no seats, nothing but 6 people. If you've got 6 people in the back of a truck, you're okay. And Songkran, you can have as many as you want. But it is what it is. Let's have a look. You would have to be crazy or totally irresponsible to drive with any alcohol in your system here. The driving standards here are appalling, seriously appalling. I agree with you, they are. And just having a crack with you, Les, yeah. Northern lads, you can take it. Yeah, the driving standards are crazy over here. Now, I used to drive the fire engines in the UK, and you get to drive or drive defensively in the fire engine because you put the 2 tones on and people do some strange things when there's a fire engine or a blue light behind you. So you sort of drive expecting other people to do some serious or crazy things. Now that's good for me living over here because my head's in the mirrors, everything like that. And people over here undertake you, overtake you. If there's room in front of you, they will try their best to get in front of you. And sometimes I always leave a good gap between the car in front or lorry in front. But then the Thai people want to be in that gap. So sometimes you can be driving along and you feel as if you're going backwards because you leave an adequate space and somebody else will jump into that space. So you move back a bit, somebody else will move into that space. But the motorbikes over here, you know, you always look in your left-hand mirror before you indicate pull over left, because motorbikes will undertake you everywhere, and especially in the big cities, they're just everywhere. So yeah, the driving, it is a different way of driving over here, and the U-turns, I think, is the most dangerous things in Thailand, where you get a great big a big lorry with a trailer on it. It'll just pull in front of people that are doing 60, 70 miles an hour on a big dual carriageway motorway, and everybody has to stop. And there's some junctions, it's like, who dares wins, you know. But touch wood, we've never had an accident in Thailand, because I always drive safely. I don't never ever drive fast anyway. If you drive slow enough, you always got time to react. So motorbike, we don't go very far with motorbike. We just use it for going to local shops and things like that, because it's easier to park than it is to take the car sometimes. So motorbikes, we always wear our helmets and things like that also. Right, what else have we got? Yeah. Okay, let's have another cost. Let's have another question. Oops. Electrics over here. I used to be an electrician in the UK. I had my own electrical business, and I've got to say, the electrics over here, excuse the pun, but very shocking. Oh, so many bad electrical jobs. Even in the house where we're living now, I wanted to extend the outside socket and put another outside socket on. And when I took the front of the socket off, there was 3 red wires, one in the earth, one in the live, and one in the neutral. So which is which? And obviously I got my tester and I tested, but somewhere in the house, a red wire is contacting with the earth wire. I mean, how bad is that? You know, a red wire in the earth wire. So it's just connected to the earth somewhere. So if you're looking at a junction box and you think, oh, there's a live cable or whatever, and there's the neutral cable, bang, it can be. And I've actually helped other people rewire their houses, and their air conditioning unit was wired to the mains wires that come before the fuse board. Before the fuse board. So there was no fusing whatsoever. Come straight off the electric cables from the mains on the poles, and it gets transferred in towards the meter, then from the meter to the fuse board. And it was actually after the meter, but on the live side before it even gets to the fuse board. So no fusing whatsoever. So the only way that would get blown the fuse is if the main fuse is on the overhead cables gets blown, and you're going to be charcoal before that ever goes off. And I've seen that on 2 occasions now, because I got a big massive shock off one. Stupidly, I thought I'd isolated the main fuse board so I could work on the cables. No. And when I looked further into it, they'd come off the main cables before they even got to the fuse board. So now anything and everything that I do electrically wise here, I'm over the top for anything. So I've helped people rewire their houses and shops and things like that. But I don't do so much of it now, because it's a lot of work for not a lot of money. Crazy. Please mention to your viewers to always install a dash cam. Dash cams are very good. Peter, great chat, Les, but I need to go out. We'll watch the rest later. Okay, cheers, Peter. Thanks very much for coming along. Thanks very much for supporting and viewing us. We've got 45 in the house now still. So that's still good, 45 people still watching. A dash cam on your car. They're very good. With my insurance, Roku, is it? I forget my insurance company, but you get a 10% discount if you've got a dash cam. So it's actually worth 6,500. So you get 650 baht, which is not much less than it would cost you to buy a dash cam. And at least with a dash cam, if you have an accident and it's not your fault, then that helps with the insurance also. But dash cams are very, very, very good. But in Thailand, there's a little bit of a saying, and actually there's some logic in it. And when you think of it, how the Thai people look upon it, is that if there's an accident, and even if it's not your fault, it could be your fault because you're a tourist here or you're a visitor here. And in reality, if you weren't living here, the accident would never have happened. And there's some logic in that, because if you weren't there, the accident wouldn't have happened. So usually if there's an accident involving a Thai person, the likelihood of the Thai person being insured is very remote, or very less than you being insured. So therefore, they will always claim off your insurance because you're at fault, because you're here. Very rarely is that the Thai person will admit it's their fault. So as a foreigner, be prepared that even if it isn't your fault, you will end up paying the bill. Just the way it is in Thailand. But the insurance over here, first class insurance includes a bail bond money also. And what that does, so if you have an accident and you injure somebody, you can end up going to jail. But if you've got fully first class insurance, then that obviously gives you your bail bond, so you don't spend the night in jail. But for those people who just think, oh, I'm just going to get the basic insurance, you could end up being in jail for weeks whilst your case gets sorted out. So always pay the extra money for the insurance and get your first class insurance. And that's a little bit more difficult to get first class insurance on a car that's more than 10 years old also. So use an agent, and it's weird here how it works, because if you change your insurance agent, they'll send somebody to take photographs of the car and they'll check your car before they actually insure you, just to make sure there's no damage on the car or wherever. But my car's worth about 350,000 baht, and I pay 6,500 baht a year for fully comprehensive insurance. Pardon me, so it's not a lot. And 1,200 baht for road tax. So I think it's relatively cheap in comparison to what I'd have to pay in England. I don't know. What do you think? We had when we went to Hua Hin, we had behind a bus, and a bus kicked up a stone and cracked the window of the car. So because we've got our insurance package where we pay the first 5,000 baht of any claim, to get a new windscreen was 5,000 baht. So it was 3,500 for the windscreen fitted, then another 1,500 for the non-reflective film on there, which stops the sunlight from coming in. And it's almost every car over here has the film on it. So 5,000 baht to get the windscreen replaced and repaired. How much would that cost in your country? I think I did a little look on it, and I think it starts at £180 or something like that. So getting cars repaired over here is very, very cheap. Also, the labour is very, very cheap. Okay. So that's that. We've done that. Realistic with a budget. Visa good news, we've done that. Driving, we've done that. For those people who want to move over to Thailand and thinking about shipping things over to Thailand, now that can be sort of a hit and miss thing, because the customs, bless them, can check whatever you're sending over, and they can ask for an import tax on whatever you've imported over here. And in reality, they can ask for whatever the amount of money that they want. And because if you want your items, you'll pay the import duties, and they can add a few thousand baht on for their purposes or whatever, for their tea money. And you've got no choice really. You either pay it or you don't get the goods. And if you don't get the goods, then it gets distributed amongst the people who are looking at it in the first place. So if you've got anything valuable in there, a guy that I know has just got some electronic devices, and he had to pay a lot of money for his tax, for his import duties, because they looked in and seen it was a drone and some electrical cameras and stuff like that, and they said, "Oh, this is going to be a good payday." And I think they charge them maybe $70 or $80 as an import duty. So sometimes they don't look. Sometimes, you know, you just get it delivered and no import duties. But on the whole, be prepared to pay import tax when something comes to Thailand. I think that's why people don't import cars. There's a 200% duty to pay on top of a car valuation, and it's whatever they value the car at, not what you value the car at. So 200% import tax, which is a crazy amount of money. So do the calculations, how much it would cost to buy everything brand new. Do the calculation, see whether it's worth spending that amount of money to import the things into Thailand, or just to sell it in your own country and come here and buy everything brand new. When all said and done, it's not that very expensive over here, and you know it's brand new, and you know it's going to work. That's just a little bit of advice to save you a few bob here and there. Let's have a look. If it don't fit in the suitcase, it's not coming with me. Hi, Les, Mike. Hi, Mike. Super 8 Rescue. Yep, put things in the suitcase. I tried to bring some tools in my carry-on bags many years ago, and they wouldn't allow it. So I had to pay an exorbitant amount of money to put them in the hold. So I just left them at the airport back in England, because it wasn't worth paying the extra baggage. I could have got a brand new. It was a cordless drill, a DeWalt drill, and a hammer drill. Value a couple of £100. They're going to charge me £100 to put this bag in the hold. And I said, I'll just forget about it then. So somebody had a nice DeWalt cordless drill and a hammer drill from the airport in London. Tools over here aren't that expensive, and I think good value for money over here. I bought my 2 dogs to Thailand 15 years ago. The team money started at £800, got them down to 400. Oh wow, that's a lot of money. £400. There's somebody I know who took the dogs here from they brought the dogs to Thailand, cost them a fortune. Then they took the dogs to Spain, which again cost them a fortune, because they had to get the special cages made, and I think it was almost £6,000 to take 6 dogs from here to Spain. £6,000. Wow, that's just a phenomenal amount of money to take your dogs. But they are pets. They're like the kids, and you know, most people can't live without them. Now, I like dogs, but I would never have a dog. I would never have any animals and pets over here, because I like my holidays and I like going away. And if you have a dog or a cat or an animal over here, then you have to look after it, and then you can't go on all holidays that you want to do, or you've got to try and arrange somebody to look after them, and I don't want to do that. My employer, at the drop of a hat, will say, listen, we're going to go on holiday tomorrow, lock everything up, shut the gate, and away we go and come back. Don't have to worry about things like that. We're off to the bridge over the River Kwai later on this month, just a bit of a holiday, and we look forward to it. It should be good fun. Maybe it's a week or so away, but that's the beauty of Thailand. Everything's relatively cheap, and it doesn't cost a lot to go anywhere. And it's just nice when you go on holiday, because it's cheap living here. It looks like renting in Thailand will be much more expensive. Now they're trying to minimize average people retiring. I should try to imagine without my glasses. Put my glasses on, now I can see. Looks like retiring in Thailand will be much more expensive. Are they trying to minimize average people retiring in Thailand and mainly courting high net worth individuals? Okay, let's answer that. I think there's no, I don't think they're doing that. Which country wouldn't want high net value expats to stop? Because people with a lot of money spend a lot of money. But I believe no matter whether you're the poorest person that's just coming here just to say manage on the income that you can live over here, there's a place for them people for every income bracket, from the wealthy to the poorest, because the wealthy people will never eat the street food. They will never eat in the mom and pop shops, and they will never eat in the little side stalls restaurants, because they're high soul people. They will always eat in the high soul restaurants, which supports the high soul restaurants. Normal, average, everyday people like me will eat the street food, will eat the noodles, will eat. So we support them people. And then everybody in between, you know, I will never ever go into a 5-star restaurant and pay them prices for a food. I would sooner pay 40 or 50 baht, or 150 to 200 baht for a nice meal in a nice restaurant. So that's why I'm saying there's an income bracket for everybody. And although Thailand might want all the wealthy people coming here, it doesn't make financial sense just to get the wealthy people here, because the wealthy people here aren't going to support all the group of people that are living here. And for me, the only people who've told me to leave Thailand are the wealthy expats who live here. The wealthy expats tell me and have told me Thailand doesn't want people like you here. Thailand doesn't want low-soul people, wealthy people. That's what I'm saying. But if you have a word with a lady in the street and you give her 20 or 50 baht, she doesn't care whether you're a wealthy person or a poor person. 20 or 50 baht to them is the same no matter who gives it to them. So I've never been told to leave this country by a Thai person, but I've been told to leave this country by wealthy expats who live here, and say there is no place for poor people to live here. There is no place for poor expats to live here. But that's easy to say when you've got a bucket load of money. But everybody to their own. You know, if they want to live like that and be like that, well, they can live like that. Blah, blah, blah. I built maximum no claims bonus on my car insurance over 40 years of driving. I lost it all because I did not drive or insure the car for 2 years. Now starting from zero, flipping joke. Yeah, again, as I say, when I went back to England, I was going to hire a car because I was there for 9 weeks. I was going to hire a car. Wow, was it expensive? So I was going to spend £1,000 on a car just for the 9 weeks. And even if I didn't sell it, so if I spent, my theory was if I spent £1,000 on the car and sold it for 750, it cost me £250 to drive a car plus the insurance. But when I had the average car, a Ford Fiesta, because I hadn't driven, lost me no claims bonus, it was £450 to insure it for 3 months. For 3 months, 450 quid. I said, forget about that. So I just went on the bus everywhere and the train everywhere, and I managed to live without a car. Did I feel stuck? Yes, I did feel stuck. I even looked at hiring a motorbike because I had a motorbike license. It was more expensive to hire a motorbike in England than it was to hire a car. So, yeah, over here, it's the car that's insured. It's the car that's insured, not the driver, which is good. I mean, on my car, I'm the only driver that's allowed to drive the car. But if somebody that's insured to drive the car, but if somebody else drives the car and there's an accident, whereas if I had an accident, I'd pay the first 5,000 baht. But if somebody else drives the car, then they have to pay the first 8,000. So technically, they're not insured, but they are insured, if you know what I mean. So that's what I like about the insurance over here. It's the car that's insured and not the drivers. Da, 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 da. Do you cope okay with a long flight? I'm thinking I'll stop over at a hotel in Dubai to make the travel easier. I saw when I went back to England, I just did it one way because I didn't know how long I was going to stay in England for, and so what I did, I booked a one-way flight to London, and then I caught the train from London up to Middlesbrough, and that was the cheap. That was only £350 to London, and then it only cost me about £35 to get from London up to Redcar. But when I came back, I flew from Newcastle because I got a flight which left on Friday the 13th, January, Friday the 13th, and Friday the 13th. A lot of superstitious people, so the flights were incredibly cheap. Well, I'm saying incredibly cheap. It still cost me £600 to fly back to Thailand, but I did that. Stopped in Dubai halfway, and I like that because it was a 12.5 hour flight going to London, and I did it in two flights from London to Dubai, and then from Dubai over to Thailand. And it's good because it's 3 hours stretching your legs, and I much prefer that to split the flight up rather than doing a long flight. It's nice to get it over and done with, but 12.5 hours in a single seat is a long way. So I go the split it up route. Super chat, David Rolfe, thanks very much, absolutely fantastic. And JD, thanks very much for the super chat payments, absolutely superb, thank you very much. Just going on to that, I much appreciate the the super chats. I really do. And I've got to say, with my channel, there's lots of other channels on here that have Patreons, they have special members group, and you can go from $1 or a pound up to £10 or £15 or something for membership and things like that. My channel, I guarantee, will never, ever have Patreon. It'll never have a membership area where you have to pay. I don't believe in that. You know, the information that I give it's free because I'm talking about it. You can ask whatever questions you have. The only thing that I do ask for, if somebody wants a lot of information, you know, rather than doing over emails and that, because there was one guy tried to explain the recycle method, took 21 emails because he just couldn't grasp it. So I do charge $10 for a consultation if somebody wants to talk to me over various things on visas or wherever problems that they have in Thailand, because I've lived here for 12 years. You know, I can point people in the right direction, if you know what I mean. So I'll charge somebody $10 for an hour. And if it lasts for 3 hours, it's still the same $10. And if you get the information that you want, then brilliant. But if you don't get the information you want, then you don't pay the $10, and you only pay the $10 after the conversation. So it's sort of a win-win situation. If you don't get the answers, and I've never, ever yet failed to give people the answers that they require. So I don't charge Patreon, don't charge membership. I've given multiple ebooks away for free. So I'm a information. There's a lot of information comes from my channel for visas and all sorts of things and workarounds. So when somebody gives me a super chat, it's fantastic. Much appreciated. Thanks very much, because I never ask for anybody else to Patreon and things like that. And so it's little gifts, things like buy me a coffee and things like that, are very much appreciated. And it's not that I ask for any payments, but the reason why I asked for the $10 is because I used to talk an awful lot to people, and free information. I could spend hours on the phone talking to people. So I think $10 is well worth the information that you get. And you ask anybody that's got information off me, for $10, it's the best value on here. There are some YouTubers on here charging £45 for a 30-minute consultation, and other YouTubers charging £500 for half an hour consultation. So anyway, that's my little rant over. But thanks very much for the super chat, very much appreciated. And be rest assured that I will never ever have Patreon or membership areas. And where they say you get behind the scenes, do you want to know what's behind this? I'll show you what's behind the scenes. If anybody wants to know how my behind the scenes goes, I'll do a video on it, and I'll show everybody behind the scenes footage and videos and things like that. Everything you see is what it is. I do videos on my solar system. I've done videos on my water treatment, which is what I'm doing now. I'm still making the video. I do videos on all sorts of things. So there's nothing. How could I give you extra value for extra videos when you see everything anyway? Anyway, that's that. Back to the questions. Paul B, what agent do you recommend, Les, for bank account and visa? Keep doing what you're doing. Best info on YouTube. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for that. And it's appreciated for when people do say that. I'm an honest guy. I don't give you any BS. I tell it how it is. And I'm not always right. People have different opinions, so I listen to people's different opinions. That's why I get a balanced view of everything. Okay, I've had my little rant and rave about England and how it's going down the tubes and things like that, but we all have our own opinion. I'm not to say that I'm right with everything. Visa agents. Now, I don't mention visa agents on here on my channel for obvious reasons, but if you send me an email, I'll put my email address there. Just send me an email and I'll tell you the visa agents that I recommend. Yahoo.com. Paisley Pearson 58 at yahoo.com. So every morning when I do videos and things like that, I always answer any comments or questions with regard to if anybody leaves a comment or a question, emails, and I answer all the emails. So it takes me an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe every morning to answer all the questions. Because if you can be bothered to send a comment or a question to me, then I should be polite enough to answer your comment or answer your question. But some of the other YouTubers that are on here will just put a thumbs up or a heart saying, yes, okay, thank you, and don't respond to it. Now, if you're taking the time to write to me, the least I can do is spend a little bit of time and reply to you, and that's what I do. But there are some emails that I have missed because it may go into my spam folder or my junk folder, and I might miss the odd one or two of them like that. And I do apologize to those people who have sent me emails and said I've never replied to them. And my junk folder gets emptied once a fortnight. So I've started to look in my junk folder more often now than before, because I've realized lots of other people have emailed me, and I write back to them and said, no, you haven't emailed, I haven't received anything. So I apologize to those people I have missed, and I do my utmost to answer everybody's questions and emails the best way I can. And if I can't give you the answers, I'll direct you to the people who can. Yeah. But that's just turbulence. Don't worry about it. It's just turbulence. 30 billion pounds, just turbulence. Would my drone be confiscated if it's in my suitcase? No, it probably won't get confiscated, but you might get a question off the immigration. Where's your license? Because now this is what, if you want to bring a drone over here to Thailand and fly it, you've got to pre-book your license, if you like, and that could take up to 3 months to apply for a license to fly a drone over here in Thailand, and then you need that license to show the immigration if they ask for it. Not to say that they're going to ask for it, because they might not even look in your suitcase for your drone and things like that, but it's beware that they may ask for that, and it takes up to 3 months to apply for a drone license to fly your drone over here. Now, like I said earlier on before, with driving a motorbike here without a license, it's 500 baht fine for driving a motorbike without a license. To fly a drone without a license, it's 100,000 baht fine for flying a drone. I've got my drone is the DJI Mini 2, which is under 249 grams or whatever it is. But because it's got a camera on it, I need a license to. In some countries, because it's under 249 grams, you don't need a license. But in Thailand, if it's got a camera, you need a license, no matter what weight it is. And if the police see you flying a drone, they will come over and look, because they know it's a big payday for them if they catch you flying a drone without a license. 100,000 baht. So what's going to happen? They'll either confiscate the drone off you, or they'll ask for a minimum, even brown envelope fee of 20, 30, 40,000 baht, because they know if you haven't got a license, you bank the rights, you're doing something wrong. And also, wherever you fly your drone, you still got to ask permission to fly the drone. Like if you're flying around a temple, you've got to ask the head monk, things like that. And there are many, many places with no flying the drone photographs and literature to say that you can't fly the drone. So it probably won't get confiscated off you, but it could get, if you've got no license to fly it, they could hold it for you until you get back to the airport. So it's a complicated thing to do with regard to registering a drone over here, especially from overseas. It can take up to 3 months to do. So that's the way to look upon it. It's not easy. That's why there probably isn't so many drone. We went over to Koh Samet Island, and I was going to do a vlog on Koh Samet. It's a beautiful island. It's 30 minutes away from us. But I had my drone, and the woman the army guy said, "Have you got permission to fly? Have you got your license to fly your drone?" I said, "I've got my license." He said, "No, you need permission off the parks department." So we went to the police station, and we asked at the police station, "Can we have permission to fly the drone?" He said, "No, you need to ask the parks department in Bangkok to get a license to be able to do this." And this is how strongly that looked upon it. There was a TV crew doing a commercial for promoting Koh Samet, and a TV crew with all the cameras, all the actors, everything else that they had. They were not allowed to fly their drone on Koh Samet because they didn't have the appropriate license. So, it's a difficult one, but they are very severe on the punishments for flying a drone here without a license. So it cost me only 1,700 baht a year for my drone license, which is incredibly cheap, but it took almost 3 months to get my license sorted out over here. You don't have to do a test. It's just a license to say you got insurance, and it's registered with the radio frequency people and also the Civil Aviation Authority. So yeah, it's a big thing, drones over here. Yeah, Kwasi Kwarteng is cheaper. It's charging a lot more. Just on that, just to put some perspective as to how much he actually lost the UK taxpayers. If you, for every pound, change it into a second. So for £1 million, it's 12 days in seconds. So £1 million equates to 12 days. £1 billion equates to 31, almost 32 years. So that's a huge difference. And he lost £30 billion because of what he said. And he said, it's just turbulence. Crazy. Anyway, that's going off the subject a little bit, isn't it? So, okay. So yeah, drones. Be very careful with drones. Right. I'll be over early this month, Les. I email you when I'm in Rayong, if that's okay. Yeah, no problem. As I say, I meet people virtually every week now, and there's a couple of restaurants that we go to, or coffee shops and things like that, and it's just nice. I just love talking to other people, and to say if they get the information that they want from me, brilliant. And it's just like, if you know how it works, it's so easy, because like talking to Kelly, the American lady, the Americans, because the immigration is so severe for corruption and things like that, you can go to jail for doing what the immigration people do over here, or the agents do over here. They bend the law. But if you did that in America, you'd go to jail. So that's why the Americans are scared of sort of bending the laws over here. It's done with frequency over here. Many people do it, and it's still legal because the Thai agents, you know, have their mechanisms and they wave their magic wand, and many things happen over here. So they have the uses that I mean, for instance, to open up a bank account, you need 30 days on your tourist visa or your extension visa. You also need to have a registered address. Now, this person, they stayed at a guest house and they didn't fill in the TM32. So when they went to get the extension of the visa, they didn't have a TM30 or registered address. So now it's up to the responsibility of the guest house or the hotel or wherever you live in to fill out the TM32. Now, they aren't going to find the guest house, so it's the tourist who'll end up having to pay the fine, and that could be up to 200 or 300 baht per day because you didn't have a TM32. But a visa agent can wave his magic wand, and that problem goes away. So, so like everything can be sorted out over here, no matter what problems. So, agents have their uses over here, but everything an agent can do, you can also do yourself by ways and means of doing it yourself. But it might take a little bit more time and a little bit more effort, but it can be done. So, okay, unless anybody's got any more questions on, we've got still 48 people in the house, 54 thumbs up, which is fantastic. So if anybody's got any more questions, ask away, because I've finished all my questions now on there. All my questions have been answered, which is good, because that answered the Americans and also the English people. And I hope you found the information that I've given is of some use to you. You know, there's no BS in there type of thing, and it's all practical and it's all doable and it's all easy to do. So no more questions? No. Okay. So at that then, we're 2 hours and 42 minutes. So I'm going to draw an end to the live stream, because the people's questions and things like that. And as I say, I've answered quite a lot of questions on here, and I hope yeah, Billy won't take a rest. You can hear me throat's gone now, isn't it? You know, it's almost gone now. And here we are now at 5:38. So the mosquitoes will be coming out now because it's getting towards dusk anyway. So it's crazy how every place in the world has found ways to make money off people. A few years ago, a license for a drone was not a thing. Yeah, exactly. The paperwork. I'll just give you an example from when I used to be an electrician. You know, people used to do freebies and, you know, without certification and things like that. Cash in hand jobs, I think they used to call them. So I'll put another socket in at 50 quid, and there you go, there's the socket on 50 quid, no paperwork, no nothing. So what did the government do? They made it that if you sold your house for whatever reason and there was extra sockets and that put in, and they can check, because then the cables went from red and black to blue and brown, that they can check that you've had new cables put in, and they can ask the owner, where's the certification to say that you got this work done? And the fact that you got an electrical work done with the government without the appropriate certification, you can be taken to court and being fined for doing it. So that stopped at the stroke of a pen all the freebies. So every single thing had to have certification for it. Same with a fencer. If you get windows put in, you've got to have a certificate from a fencer operated window. Plumbing, Corgi registered to do any gas and things, which I agree with gas because it's dangerous, but you still need certification for absolutely everything you did. And that was at a stroke of a pen. The government made it legal that you have to have all of this paperwork done. And they've done that with everything. Taxes for absolutely everything. The government ripped you off for everything. And do we all benefit from it? Not at all. Okay. Les, what's your theory on why house and rental prices are so low in Thailand for property compared to the West? Simple answer is the average salary for a Thai person is 9 to 15,000 baht per month. So, well, that's less than £300 a month. You know, if you take it at 15,000 baht, which is good. The average daily rate is 450. It's just gone up to 450 baht a day. So it's £10 a day. £10 a day is the average wage. So therefore, that's why prices are so cheap here, and that's why as Westerners, even with our basic pension, can live a much better lifestyle over here than what you'd get for the money in the UK. So that's all to do with it. That's all to do with, you know, the money that people charge. Long may it last. Hopefully that the Thai people get a better standard of living with wage rises, but as wage rises goes up, everything else goes up with it as well. But a 5% increase on the Thai economy is a lot less than the 5% increase on the Western economy. So it's always going to be cheaper to live in a South Asian country than it is in the Western country. So what's the time is it there? It's 6:39 a.m. here in Fort Myers, Florida. It is 5:42 p.m. So in another hour, it'll be dark here. So, yeah. So the mosquitoes start coming out like an hour before dusk. And that's when they'll start nibbling at my ankles. I found a school in Pattaya for language. Would I need an agent to help get the bank account? Yes, you will. The language school might have their own set of agents to be able to help you out. But again, I presume that'll be the education visa because you're going to the school. I found a school. So is that for education visa or is that for teaching? Because if you're teaching, then that's different, because then if you've got a work permit, you can actually go and open up a bank account because you've got a work permit. So you wouldn't need an agent to do that. But if it's found a school, if you are going to learn Thai on education visa, then that's a different. But with the sounds of that, if you're going to work at a school, because the school's going to employ you, so it'll give you a work permit, and then with a work permit, you can open up a bank account, no problem. So that's a lot easier. Go grab a beer. I'm going to go grab a beer. Yes, I'm going to go to the shop and I'm going to go and get a cup of chang and sit and watch a movie tonight and just go. Because tomorrow, no need for us to get up early in the morning. I was up this morning at 6 o'clock because I did the first live stream at 7 o'clock in the morning, talking to the people in America. So I've talked almost all around the world today. And I've enjoyed it. I do enjoy the live streams, even though it's I'm talking to myself here and people drive past and thinking, who's he talking to? I do enjoy the live streams, and there's a lot of interaction of people, and I much appreciate the thumbs up and anybody that isn't subscribed would be nice. Get my numbers up. I'm trying to get 10,000 subscribers by Christmas time. I'm 8,400 and something today, so we'll get there in the end, And I've been doing this for 4 years. There's some people get 10,000 in the first few months or so, but it's been a long way getting there, but I'm getting there. It's like the hare and the tortoise. We'll get there in the end. Bye, Les was where... Oh. Bye, Les. We were Rayong, by the way. Oh, where's Rayong, by the way? It's an hour and 20 minutes away from Pattaya. Have a look at Google Koh Chang, and that's the nearest holiday destination towards this Koh Chang, Koh Samet. We're 3 hours away from Koh Chang, which is another beautiful island. Had a good evening. Just got a singer now, open now. I'm a Chang man. I like me Chang. Look at you. That's why I want to be in Thailand. No more 4 a.m. start. I used to work 6 till 2s in the steelworks, and no. What Thai bank works best with Wise? Would the Bangkok Bank be a good? Yeah, Bangkok Bank is probably the best bank, because Wise and Bangkok Bank have an agreement with each other under the reasons. When you click for the reasons for transferring the money, it's to maintain, I forget the exact word, but you have to scroll right the way down at the bottom to maintain the funds for a long stay in Thailand. Now, there's some people don't know that when you scroll down for the reasons, it's the right bottom one, and by doing that, it shows up on your bank book and also your bank statements. It's a foreign transfer, and that's what the immigration want to see every year, that your money comes from a foreign transfer, not from a bank to bank. And the Bangkok Bank and Kasikorn Bank are the 2 best banks for that, but Bangkok Bank for me is the number one, and I've had the Bangkok Bank now for 12 years. Yeah, so that's it, the Bangkok Bank. So, okay, on that note, 2 hours and 51 minutes. I'm going to call it an end, and because my voice is going out, and I've only got this little bit of water left, and we're almost there. And I'm going to take some advice from other subscribers and other members here. I'm going to go and have a chang. So, thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks very much for watching. Until the next one. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks very, very much for watching. Thanks very, very much for the super chats. Have a good evening, everybody.